Hey, and welcome to the Vergecast for the week of, I'm told, April 16th, 2012.
We never really let that beat drop as hard as I want, by the way.
I can increase the, we can increase the funk on that drop. Anyhow, this is the welcome to the Vergecast for the week of April 16th, 2012. I'm Josh Topolsky.
I'm Paul Miller.
I'm Nilay Patel.
And Nilay Patel back with us. Did not die during his bachelor party in Las Vegas. The ghost of Nilay Patel. A clone, a Patel clone. Anyhow, we're back on the Vergecast where we discuss the week in consumer electronics, consumer culture, technology culture, electronics culture, and consumer
culture.
Electronics.
The culture of consumption.
And the culture, the culture of consumption, and we also consume culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh? Paul's new business
Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Paul Miller, the culture of consumption.
That's my book?
Yeah, it's your pop psychology business
It's
book.
got like a, what's on the cover? It's like a very stark book. There's a it's like a stock photo of something.
I think it's a cigarette from the 50s.
It's a cigarette that's been smoked all the way down to the filter and stubbed out, and the white, just all white in the stubbed out cigarette.
Oh, and no, but it's been stubbed out on like a snowy television that's lying on its back.
That's good. Yeah. I like that. But also all white background.
Right,
yeah,
right.
Okay, good. I'm glad we agree on Paul Miller's culture of consumption. 200-page. Life manual coming.
New York Times bestseller.
New York Times bestseller.
3 weeks running.
Watch out, Malcolm.
Right behind the 4-Hour Work Week and the
Twilight.
Right behind the 4-Hour Work Week and Twilight. Both, by the way, demographic exactly the same for that book. Weirdly enough. What's the story with me having a beverage? I just noticed nothing here for me to hydrate myself with. What if I died during this from dehydration? And then we cut
podcast ever.
We cut to a shot of these
Legendary
guys.
podcast.
We cut to a shot of these guys, and you cut back to me, and it's a skeleton in this outfit, dead.
And then you come back to us, and you come back to you, and you're just a pile of dust.
And then a pile of dust.
Yeah.
Legendary. And then you cut to me, and then you cut to them, and come back to me, and it's a glowing orb. Huh? You don't want that.
Like
you don't want that, or do you? I guess we'll find out.
Have you ever read Childhood's End?
Wow.
Please stop.
I think I've asked you this.
Please stop asking me about books.
It's a good book.
I don't read books.
We may or may not become orbs.
I don't own a television. I'm off the grid. Anyhow, we should talk about we have things to talk about. Supposedly.
Big week in news.
By the way, I want to apologize. We're late. We've been really good on being on time, pretty close to being on time lately.
Yeah.
But I got stuck in one of those classic New York traffic situations where
there was traffic.
Where there was cars lined up from front to back.
Why do we drive on parkways and park in driveways and et cetera, et cetera?
I think.
By the way, we got an email. Somebody complimented me on our mic technique.
No,
really?
They were like, thank you for
improving.
improving.
That is probably the first time.
They're like, thank you for improving your mic technique. It wasn't like a full compliment, like you guys have great mic technique. It was like, you've improved upon your
getting better.
Formerly assy mic technique.
Terrible.
Yes, exactly.
All right, you want to talk about some news?
Not really. I just would like to keep having these meta conversations about what's happening in this room right now.
I'm drinking a beer.
Is that a beer? It's not a cider?
Yeah.
I'm logging into Google Docs to look at our topics.
I would like a beer. Yep, it's happening. Michael, I'd like a beer.
I'm gonna need another one. So.
By the way, Michael Shane just went ooh when he heard that. I like, are you wearing shorts? Are those Bermuda shorts? Hello.
Our
nice Bermuda shorts.
Can we just describe? You can't see Michael right now.
This is casual.
Blue and pink plaid shirt.
Weekend casual.
Salmon Bermuda shorts.
Yeah.
Bright. I don't want to.
We don't need to see that.
Bright pink and yellow Nikes with bright pink.
They're two different shoes, right?
Maybe I'll draw.
Maybe
I'll draw a picture.
Draw a picture of him.
Truly,
Paper.
psychedelic freak out.
Okay, my beer.
I do like the haircut though.
That's old news, dude. That's last week. All right. Anyhow, we have a big week. Big week in technology.
That's the biggest news of the week.
MSFT.
All right.
What do you want to talk about?
Well, we broke some Nokia news that has already made some people unhappy this week.
You think?
So early in the week,
we can't buy a break.
We can't. It's not my fault.
I will say this: in our ongoing conspiracy to destroy Nokia and Microsoft,
we're doing a great job.
We're doing a bang up job. You know what? I said to myself,
I don't make the news, man.
I said this to myself the other day. What's more important, your site's reputation or totally destroying Microsoft?
Well,
and it's obvious.
We don't do anything half-assed.
Oh, no glass, really? He's not. He doesn't drink it. You're drinking a beer?
No, I got.
Oh, I don't get a glass.
They're all dirty.
All dirty. Okay, that's fine.
There you
I
go.
don't have very many actual glasses here.
All right.
Stella.
When we
proud
set-
sponsor
when
of
we
the.
set
Oh,
out
by the
to
way,
destroy it.
do we have a sponsor this week, Creighton? No. Krayshawn says no. I agree.
Now it's Stella.
You're the sponsor. Sponsored
Yeah.
by Michael Shane Industries. Stella goes down smooth, stays there usually, unless you have too many. In which case, you know what? That's your problem. Drink responsibly.
Cool. So, early in the week, Microsoft developer evangelist claims all Windows phones will get upgraded
Oh yeah. So this
to
is
Apollo.
a
which is the
Microsoft
next
evangelist named like Runo Tenodi. I don't know what his name is, but it's something like
Bruno Tenodi.
I made that up, but it's a I forget
I'll
the.
get the guy's name. You keep talking.
Anyhow, Microsoft evangelist said
Nuno Silvia.
Nuno Silvia. I was pretty close.
Silva.
Silva. Nuno
sorry,
Silva.
Nuno Silva said all Windows Phone 7 devices in market are going to be updated to Apollo. Windows Phone 8.
Yeah.
And then we got news from a very reliable source.
Extremely reliable.
I wish I could actually explain to the people who think that we're just like our plot to destroy Microsoft. Like, I wish that I could explain to them that we would not. I mean, I'm going to explain to you right now. We would never run something like this.
Yeah.
If we weren't. If we didn't have a source that we felt was 100% trustworthy, because this is a hot. Like, we're not. It's every time we put up a post about Lumia, Nokia. If the word Lumia, Nokia, or Microsoft or Windows Phone is in the post,
Yeah.
we're just sitting there waiting in fear.
I wait for the homophobic murderers to come to my house.
Tears
and
streaming
kill
down
me.
our faces, worried about what the next wave of
mail bombs.
Yeah, mail bombs. You know, I mean, I've gotten some. Yeah, I tweeted about it. He has very nasty messages sent. Dieter has had
Yeah.
like basically people like
Homophobic murderers.
like death threats.
That's where they
I
are.
honestly don't understand it. It's just a phone. But anyhow,
What?
There's a joke between homophobic murderers and mail bombs, and I just can't figure it out.
Unnecessary. We don't need to go there.
I don't think.
Because I'm getting some weird crap in my stuff.
Anyhow, but the long and short of it is that we wouldn't have put this thing up if we weren't very sure about the source, right? If we didn't feel we had a strong, very strong source. So anyhow, the story is they're not this. The case is that Windows Phone 7 devices that are in market right now, it's looking like in all likelihood there is not a upgrade path for those devices to get full on Windows Phone 8 Apollo updates.
Yeah, because they're changing the kernel. I've heard it from sources this week as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think
most likely
going
going to change the kernel.
I think you only need to
entirely.
do a little bit of the math on this. I mean, the spec is if your focus that you bought the launch day for Windows Phone 7 and the Lumia 900, the new flagship device, are running the same exact software, which they are.
Yep.
And you're talking like basically 2-year-old spec, maybe older, because Microsoft announced the spec Microsoft announced the spec of these phones over 2 years ago. Yeah. So you're talking about 2-year-old spec.
It's almost identical to the HD2, which came out 100 years ago.
Well, the HD2, and there was that talk that
All
it was
that
gonna
hullabaloo about.
it would be upgraded to Windows Phone 7.
Hullabaloo?
I think it's hullabaloo.
Hullabaloo.
Imagine messing up a word like that.
Yeah.
Just a total, like, not useful, regular.
It
everyday
already
word.
sounds messed up.
Right.
I mean, you were basically right. That's the important
Okay,
thing.
anyway,
It's like
so we run the story.
Hufflepuff.
It's not going to be upgraded.
So we run the story.
What is this, today? This happened today? 19th, 8:52 a.m. Microsoft developer evangelist retracts claim.
Retracts his claim.
That all mega devices
So
will be
by the way,
Apollo.
what was really confusing about the story for a lot of people is that he made the claim, and then we ran our story like 12 hours later or something. So it happened in the same day. So the day after, the following day, the morning of, I had all these people emailing me and tweeting me going like, not true. Here's a statement from an evangelist saying they're all going to be. It was like that nobody was checking timestamps on those posts, or some of them didn't even have timestamps.
Right.
So it was actually really confusing. I'm glad that this guy clarified that he was wrong.
Well, I mean,
Would have been great if he'd had never said that to begin with, I think.
yeah.
Because it raised
His clarification is, I was merely attempting to make the point that existing Windows Phone applications will run on the next version of Windows Phone, and I mistakenly confused app compatibility with phone updatability.
That's a pretty
That's a lawyerly dance.
It's a pretty significant rephrasing of it. To say like, don't worry, your phone will be updated to, don't worry, the app you coded that's currently running on a phone will run on the next version. Like, well, that would be surprising if they made a version of if the next version
They started so completely.
if they did like 6.5 to 7 again, if it was like, oh yeah, by the way, Windows Phone 8, all of your apps won't be compatible that you made for Windows Phone 7.
That'd be pretty rough. Well, I mean, what Microsoft has been doing in the desktop you know, they when they first started to show off Windows 8, they were saying, you know, we were trending up Intel XP and into like Vista up in hardware requirements, and we realized with Vista that we needed to stop doing that. And so Windows 7 was the first time when they started to go down.
And they made a big,
hardware.
They made a big point of that at CES last year.
Right.
When they talked about, was it CES?
Yeah.
Where they
that's what I'm
talked
saying.
about.
It was we were in there together.
That's right.
That's
and
what
they
were
made that
about.
big deal about, like, for the first time ever, the requirements actually went down, and it was like that was the precursor to, and we're going to ARM. It was like all wrapped into that.
So if they could pull that off for Windows Phone, it'd be pretty nice. I mean,
well, but I think the problem is, but it would be easy if you started with a spec that had risen to a certain point.
Right.
I think their problem now is that their spec, they just start. Windows Phone 7 is new, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So they just started, like, remember like iOS, right? 1.
Yeah.
They've refined a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
Like there used to be some really janky. Remember the keyboard?
My first iPhone is on like somewhere like iOS 3 or something.
Right, but do you remember the original iPhone keyboard that there was like it would lag and do weird things? I remember when they updated to version 2, it had some weird funky, and like they eventually smoothed out all of these things. They've like really massaged the software.
All of the
Android,
devices got those. The first time they started to break compatibility a little bit was 3GS.
And if you look at like Android, they did the same thing where it was like a
Well, it was
real
only
mess
the third phone.
up until 2.2. Or, I mean, 2 got better with Android. 2.2 and then 2.3 obviously became like a fairly smooth affair. Obviously, 4 is like a bit major update to that. But they worked for a couple of years working out those kinks. And I think that once you get to that point, you can start going like, well, how can we reduce requirements in certain places? And obviously, they've been talking about, what is it? Tango is the next update, which will reduce some requirements for lower end
then
phones.
Apollo goes way up again.
Well, but I think it's like there's strata, right? I think they're going to have like.
Do you think
Tango,
they're going to have a new like minimum camera spec and minimum all of
I
this?
would
chassis
imagine.
spec?
I mean, how could they not?
So what I'm told, feel very confident about this, is that when they were building Windows Phone 7, they wanted to use a stripped down version of the NT kernel, which the real Windows kernel.
I feel like we talked about this during
and
the
they
mix
couldn't.
or something.
They didn't have the time, and so they ended up using CE. I have same person told me that the decision to use CE was undertaken with.
Would you describe this as a person familiar with the matter?
Yes.
Okay.
So they want to unify
They want to unify.
on NT.
They were not.
You know what?
And
I'm kind of into
CE
that.
has
That's
actually
kind of cool.
many times throughout the past few years, CE has been described to me as kind of a piece of junk.
Well,
And
but how does this?
Maybe help them out with their
so
multitasking.
I think
How
Apollo,
does this relate to
I think
Apollo?
they're the big shift. The reason that the current devices won't get it is because they're just starting over at the kernel level with whatever.
So they
they're
use
gonna
the
do.
Windows ARM kernel.
Yeah.
so
they're gonna use
Apollo-
Windows are the,
Windows RT.
all that stuff.
So
the
they're
NT
using the
kernel
kernel
underneath.
of Windows RT.
I don't know about that.
Okay, but let's let's just
I mean, iOS basically.
There'll be more family related
in a hypothetical world, because we have heard, and it's funny because Ballmer, there's always this thing about Ballmer talking about how everything is Windows, like, and it has to be right. It's like he wants them to be very unified. So hypothetically speaking, Apollo could be the kernel of Windows RT, Windows for ARM.
Right. I don't know if it'll be exactly the same
Okay,
thing, because
maybe
these
it
things
won't.
are
I
on
mean,
like different tracks.
This is a wild
but they will be
speculative point.
related much more directly right now than
And you're saying
Windows 7
the
and Windows
previous
Phone 7.
chassis just wouldn't be able to.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
what is
there's
the-
no point.
what is
Why
the-
would
what
you
is the
run
RAM?
around
What
trying
is
to
the RAM?
support old hardware with
And
that?
by the way, check in our chat room. But I believe the RAM of the Lumia is 256, right?
I thought the Lumia had more. The 900. I thought it had more, but
Does
I'm not
it?
sure. These people, no, 512. Yeah, that's what
Is it
looks like.
512? Okay. But some of the devices, even do some of the recent devices have 256, or are they all at
Yeah,
512?
the baby devices all have
The
256,
originals.
Yeah.
So those obviously, but I mean that's not surprising.
So,
It
but I've
is
heard
surprising
that, like, this
that-
will be the change. Like, this is the big kernel change
Right.
that's happening.
I just don't understand. Here's what I don't understand. I mean, resolution aside, I don't think that's a concern. If you do an 800 by 480 device, like whatever, you can still run whatever on it. If your next spec is 1280 by 720 or whatever it's going to be, that shouldn't be a concern. So let's see, what are the things, right? Cores? Like, what are the specs that are going to be roadblocks, do we think?
RAM is the biggest one.
RAM, cores, GPU. Those are the big ones. I mean,
that's what lets you play the game.
Chipsets like.
But no, but that's
Chipsets aren't gonna
RAM
be a
cores
problem.
and CPU and
right.
GPU. That's
Right.
what let you play the games. And
So
that's what people
I'm
want.
saying, why did they not? Was it not, if they were working closely with Nokia, was it not possible for them to say, like, look, we can sneak this one under the radar,
Put some better
give it a dual
specs in.
core, disable a core, give it a better GPU, give it more RAM. And because if this is the case that the Lumia 900 is not Apollo ready, that's a pretty nasty burn.
Yeah,
It's
no,
a really
in
nasty
general.
part. But this is what I've been saying. I feel like we could have all avoided everybody. Microsoft, Nokia, The
I
Verge,
think you're wrong.
Microsoft fans, adherents.
Adherence, interesting.
Could have avoided so much pain and suffering by not either you put out the Lumia 900 and you don't make a big deal about it, or you hold, because they're doing this.
They have to have somebody to
They're
market.
doing this huge advertising push, and the smartphone beta test is over. Like, you're saying the smartphone beta test is over
just beginning.
with a phone that is exactly in a lot of ways, very, very similar to phones that came out 2 years ago.
Well, no, it is. If you upgrade it to Mango, it is exactly the same.
And a lot of the troubles that you had, I just think I'm hoping that Apollo is awesome, that it really, does great things, that the hardware takes a leap forward in power. You start getting better games on there. The operating system is more exciting, and it's fresher, and it's got cool things going on. I think that'd be so much fun. And this whole Lumia 900 thing has just, it's such a beautiful phone. I understand why you'd want to get it out there.
It's a quagmire.
It's a quagmire.
well, so that
really is.
that leads right into kind of the next poor Nokia situations, which their earnings came out today.
Right.
Lumia phones not selling well throughout the world.
So we ran a post on this, which is Rolling Thunder, which is their.
Well, so there's a few things going on. So Rolling Thunder, which is their strategy, their operation to bring back the U.S. market share.
Right.
That thus far,
I would have called it something more something like Eagle Strike or
instead of Lumia.
no. I would have called the plan
you
Rolling
would have called
Thunder.
the phone. The Eagle
If
Strike?
Rolling Thunder was specifically for the U.S. market.
The U.S. We're going to retake the U.S. market.
I feel like it should have been
Operation
called
Rolling
like
Thunder.
Stars and Stripes, Operation Stars and
good.
Stripes. Something
All right.
a little more like to denote that it was clearly about the Rolling Thunder. It just makes me think of the game,
Rolling Thunder makes me think
which
of
is a great game, by the way.
definitely a mission that I played in some Vietnam combat simulation.
Well, it's also a game.
I'm pretty sure
actual
it's a
video
mission
game.
in Chuck Yeager's Air Combat.
I don't
that
know.
I played on
now
my
you've
Apple II.
now you've gone off the deep end. I don't know what you're talking about.
It was a good
I
game.
can't confirm or deny.
You know what's really
that's-
weird is I used to play that game when I came home from middle school, and my sister would always come home from high school, and she would listen to the first Cranberries record. And so now whenever I play a flight simulator, I think of the first Cranberries record. It's a little piece of my youth.
Just a little taste from the life of
so
Nilay Patel.
Nokia-
Just a little nibble, a little
Nokia
morsel.
lost 1.3 billion euros in Q1. They sold half as many smartphones around the world as they did the year before. And in the U.S., they sold only 600,000 phones, period.
Oh,
Feature phones and
how was that
smartphones.
compared
They've
to the
been
last
having
quarter?
troubles in
Half as
US
many
for
in
a
the
long
U.S.
Really?
They went down in the U.S.
Did you say that?
Yeah.
That's
no, half as many in the world, half as many in the U.S.
Yeah,
Just in
that's-
general, they're down.
It's not cool.
They did say, and they said day one of Operation Rolling Thunder is when they put out the Lumia 710 on T-Mobile.
Oh right.
So we ran a
Remember
story.
that?
Yeah, great. Doing
T-Mobile.
great.
T-Mobile. They're T-Mobile.
So obviously, you have to hold it in context of what's happening with the Lumia 900.
we don't know. We don't have the stats. That's going to change that. But this is the first.
And then there was a
quarter that
lot
they can
of
report
confusion this morning because CNET got something very wrong. Stephen Elop said we've sold 2 million Lumia phones, period. And CNET reported that as we sold 2 million Lumia 900s,
Which would be enormous.
which would be a monster amount.
it would be a game changer.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great.
Maybe they have sold 2 million. I don't know.
They said
Or
it
did-
exceeded
did-
expectations, but they would not
Did
break out the
Nokia?
number.
Is that clarified by Nokia that they did not sell 2 million Lumia
No,
900s?
it was clarified by the transcript of the call. That's that's what they said.
Oh,
we
well.
sold 2 million Nokias. Their 2 million Lumias
Lumias.
would not break out the 900 numbers. So that was very confusing.
So
for a while
including the
this morning.
710, including Europe or just in America?
including Europe, 2 million Lumias.
So
around the world.
Lumia, so 800,
900, 710,
900,
whatever.
710, all in.
Yeah. They said the 900, they're doing well in the U.S. 900 sales.
We ran a
exceeded-
report, right? They said they're making them as they had talked to All Things D, making them as fast as they can,
Right.
And they said I think they wanted to make it clear, like most people weren't, because they had this data issue, and there were some both John Pachowski, which I think is how you pronounce that, and if I'm wrong, John, I apologize. You can email me with the pronunciation. And we also ran a report where both of us were like, "What's the reason they're sold out right now?" I don't know when his went up, but they were kind of both like, "Is it due to these data issues? Are they holding them or pulling them because they don't want to sell?" Devices with problems to customers, but they were like, that's not what was going on with the stuff being sold out, and we are not getting a bunch of exchanges. People are just updating there's a software update, so they wanted to be clear about that, and we actually reached out to them and talked to them, and they were very clear. But they wouldn't give us numbers, which is
we're hearing that they had 10 to 15 900s per store. That's what Chris reported a while ago.
How many?
10 to 15, 9 to 15, 10 to 15 per store.
That's right.
And then, so it's not. It doesn't seem like an enormous.
Have you done the math?
I don't know how many stores there are, but I could do the math.
Okay.
Tell me how many stores there are. I'll do the
No,
math.
I can't. No computer.
So look, just kind of hard times for Nokia. Like in this moment, like they've got this phone, all these questions about the future life cycle of the phone.
Yeah.
And now a lot of questions about what the sales are.
Yeah.
And we also ran European carriers earlier this week. European carriers told Reuters
part of our elaborate scheme.
Phones.
No, but European carriers actually were like, we don't think they compete.
Yeah.
With Android and iOS.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tough road for them, and I don't. Every time I see one of those stories, I'm like, it's not just because I know people are going to freak out, but it sucks that there are some really, and I said this in my review, there's some core stuff that's really, really good.
Yeah.
And particularly Lumia, the Lumia hardware. That's cute.
Yeah.
The Lumia hardware is so good.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of like the design, like I feel like it's awakened in me a desire for
cooler hardware.
For just like, I'm just like looking at the last couple of years of phones, and it is lame.
Yeah.
You've got like the iPhone over here, and now the Lumia, and like, tell me other memorable phones, like off the top of your head, memorable hardware that you think is like a
Original
really,
Droid.
Yeah, Original Droid was awesome. The Original Droid was really awesome.
Have you ever seen when people have them now? I have a few friends who still have them.
Yeah, they're insane.
And they're like beaten to crap.
Yeah.
All the paint's chipped off.
I kind of like that.
It really looks like an old muscle car.
Yeah. It's like it's kind of very post-apocalyptic, which is fitting since they're a post-apocalyptic killing device. But we should take. I would like to take some calls.
Let's take some calls. People
By the
have
way,
these
we
things
don't
for a couple weeks.
About Nokia. I mean, we've been.
No. I'd like to hear some people who bought a 900 that are what their thoughts are on the Apollo. If the Apollo thing turns out to be, about like if this changes their feeling about the phone. Hold on, we don't have our signal up here on this TV on the monitor here. I don't know if that's good or not. But what's the number so I can tell people, because I don't know it off the top of my head. And what is it? 888-418. 4074. So call in, and this is here's who I'm looking for. You bought a Lumia 900, and I would like to hear. We're not going to talk about the phone. We're not going to argue about it or whatever. I'd like to hear your thoughts if the news that potentially, we could be wrong.
Yeah,
it's possible, but from what we're hearing, that it won't get the Windows Phone 8 update. It won't be fully updated to whatever the next version of Windows Phone is. Does this affect how you feel about the phone? Are you depressed? Is it what's happening in your world? All right, I'm going.
I wasn't here.
You haven't seen this?
Last week.
Tell us. This is Collins and Tellus. They're now a duo.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Collins and Tellus.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to take a call here. What do we have? Line 3? Are we good? No? You're saying no? I'm getting 5. We're screening calls.
Oh, I see how this works.
Yeah. Oh,
Very
there we
nice.
go. Okay. I'm going to take a call now. I forget.
Wait, does that thing show you a check mark
Yeah,
when it's
hold on.
good?
I don't know if this is right, if I know how to do this. Let me try. Hey, you're on the air. What's your name, and what are your thoughts on this Apollo
amazing.
situation?
Hey, Andre. I'm calling about the Lumia 900 and the Apollo issue.
Yes. What are your now? Did you buy Lumia 900?
Yes, I did. I pre-ordered it as soon as I possibly could.
So what is it? If the Apollo thing is true, what is it? How does it change the way you feel? What's your thoughts on it?
I'm not overly worried about the Apollo thing, in part because the phone was so cheap in the first place, and I'm used to buying my phones completely outright.
Okay.
So
you're a little bit.
Price-wise, it's not so much.
You're a little bit outside the norm then. You're saying you're used to paying like full price for a phone.
Yeah, I usually buy them full price
And
because the plans that I usually get are significantly cheaper.
And did
I've
you
been
pay
paying like $50?
did you pay full price for did you pay full price for the Lumia 900?
No,
Or you paid
this
the
was an
99
upgrade.
bucks. Right.
I paid for it as an upgrade, but given that Apollo is not going to be released until near the end of the year, it wasn't really financially significant a difference buying it on contract and then paying the ETF as opposed to buying it full price.
Right.
So for a lot of people that have bought the Lumia 900, it's not so much of an issue.
Right. So
in terms of financial costs?
Well, it's cheap, but now you're in contract, right, for 2 years. Do you think that you'll keep the phone? Will you keep the phone for like a year, or when do you feel like you're going to need to? If Apollo comes out, hypothetical situation, Apollo comes out in December or something, and you're not upgrade. You can't get an upgrade. Will you stick with the phone, or do you think you'll move to like a new Windows phone with Apollo? Like, what would your plan be there?
It really depends on how significant an upgrade Apollo is. If the rumors of Apollo being as good as it supposedly is going to be are true, then for fairly obvious reasons I would upgrade. But it very much depends on what the upgrade brings.
You're a very loyal. You're a loyal Windows Phone user. I mean, you bought. I mean, $99 is not a ton of money to
Exactly.
really. And if you're used to paying full price for a phone, like then it's no big
What's
deal.
What's your usual upgrade cycle?
Yeah, how often are you buying a new phone?
I bought a Samsung Focus last year in part to review it, just to give it a once-over, see if Windows Phone was any good. Before that, I'd use Symbian on and off. I do use an Android phone from time to time, a Droid 3.
Okay. Oh, nice. So you're
as well as an original Droid.
Oh, yeah, the original Droid. Is yours beat up? Is it kind of like scuffed up and scratched up?
The screen is pretty much shattered, so...
Wow.
Well, it pretty much shattered. There's only shattered or not. Is it shattered? It is, right?
It's pretty badly off.
Yeah.
It is pretty badly off.
All right, we're gonna take another call. Thank you so much for calling in. Very interesting perspective, because I mean you're a little bit outside the norm because most people are buying on contract and kind of sticking with it. But that's very interesting. So thank you so much for calling. We're gonna take another caller here. Hi, you're on the air. What is your name? And
I'm so jealous of this.
I know. And tell us your feelings on the Apollo situation.
We should have never gone to the moon.
I'm Charlie.
Hello. Sorry, that's Neil. I was interrupting you. It's
awesome joke.
Just get used to it. Just get used to it, my man.
Charlie,
All
talk
right.
to me.
Yeah. So I'm in Canada and I have the Lumia 800. My carrier only has the 800. And yeah, the upgrade path issue makes me mad and makes me not want to buy a Windows phone next time.
Really? I mean, are you happy? Are you happy?
Um,
Are you happy with the 800 right now? Like, do you like it?
Yeah, I absolutely like it. The design is great, and Windows Phone 7 is pretty good for me, unlike how you feel about it.
Well, I like, again, the things I like about it. There's things I don't like about it. But
yeah, I'm like okay with the app situation right now.
So you like, you're a Windows Phone user. You like it. You bought an 800. You're like, I'm into this. But if it doesn't get the upgrade, you think you would bail to another platform?
Yeah, because I used to be an Android user, and the reason I switched from Android is because I didn't have a Nexus device, and basically my device was just totally left out from the upgrade, and that really made me mad.
So the same problem on Android.
No, same problem. I mean, that's the. It's funny. You think somebody would figure it out here?
Can you put my awesome drawing on this? I mean, I've worked so hard on these.
Are you airplaying that? Can you do that?
I'm trying to airplay if Creighton would pay attention.
So no Apollo update for you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the sad Lumia. What is this over here?
That's Apollo.
And this is the Lumia being left behind?
Yeah.
Look at this beautiful art you just did. This is incredible.
I know.
I'm so impressed.
That's what I said. And it's been sitting on his TriCaster for hours.
I'm so impressed. Anyhow, Charlie, I appreciate the call. I mean, when do you think?
Proud of yourself?
I'm so proud of myself.
Are you already planning to jump ship here, or are you going to wait for the official word? Obviously, you're going to wait for the official word from Microsoft, right?
Probably, but I'm probably going to switch to the new iPhone when it comes out, iPhone 5 or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, really?
September.
Oh, so if Apple announces in September, October, they announce that. Well, if they're going to announce a new iPhone, you've decided.
Yeah, because the whole upgrade thing just makes me mad. Like, if this is the case, then I don't want to stick with Windows Phone anymore. Like, cause I also have the 4S, and I know like how great it is to not have to worry about the whole upgrade thing.
Right. It's interesting that a lot of our
How do you also have the 4S?
two plans, swim swapping, sim swapping,
Swim sopping.
swim swapping.
Yeah.
Also,
I got the 4S when it came out, and then I got the Lumia 800 when it came out in Canada here.
You bought it off. You bought it off contract.
I actually, yeah.
What did you pay for the Lumia?
Did
How much?
you steal the phone?
Yeah, you could tell us. You stole the Lumia, didn't you, from a Microsoft store?
No,
Canadian Microsoft
I bought it for
store.
like $500 something.
Wow, 500 Canadian.
Yeah.
That's like 25 US dollars.
That's more.
No, it's the other way
Oh,
around.
I'm sorry. That's
more
like
or like 2,000.
2,000
Oh,
US dollars.
you're done.
Bird.
Goodbye.
Good, excellent, Bird. I deserve that. Thank you so much for calling in. We're gonna grab one more caller and then we're gonna move on. But thank you so much. Really interesting take on that.
Thank you.
Okay, one more. Here we go. Hello, you're on the air. What is your name? And are you flying on Apollo or not? I don't even know what that means.
Hi, my name is Kyle, and I bought a Lumia 900 last week, and it's just be sitting on my desk because I have no use for it. pretty
Wow.
much.
What do you? But you?
And-
are you calling us on the Lumia 900 right now?
No.
What are you on?
So I'll be returning it this week because I'm gonna get the 1X.
Really?
I went to the store, and the Lumia 900 was like so pretty, and like I bought it because of that. But then it's just I have no use for it, pretty much.
You're not. What were you using before the what are you using instead of it, or what were you using before the Lumia?
I was using a feature phone, but I have an iPad.
Okay, so
So
you
I
went.
was hoping to get like good games and like HBO Go and that kind of stuff, and it was just not there.
Yeah. So you went. You were like, I don't. I want a smartphone. This thing is awesome looking. It feels nice in the store, and you're not happy. And so the Apollo thing is not even an issue for you.
Not really. It's most of the
I feel like.
third-party apps.
I feel like
it's not there.
honestly, I don't want to be a jerk, but you didn't really have an opinion about Apollo, and I'm a little upset. I thought you would be like,
No. I bought it with hopes that it would get better.
Okay, so
Then now that there are rumors that it's not going to get better,
Yeah.
then I'll be returning it.
Well, no, you know what Tom Warren said to me was they'll upgrade it somehow. That it won't get Apollo.
This is what I've
but
heard.
it'll get some pieces.
I've heard
some other
inklings
stuff.
of this, that it'll get some of the software or some pieces, but not the full upgrade. But like, I feel like the full upgrade is going to be
It's a big deal.
a big deal. Like, I don't.
Well, maybe that's like a performance and like a under the hood stuff. Maybe you can get a better Bing barcode scanning.
All right, now you're just being a jerk. Okay. Well, thank you for calling in.
Draw your pictures. Paul.
And I'm sorry to hear that you're not.
I'll go back to paper.
I'm sorry to hear that you're not enjoying the Lumia, but I told you. Okay, why didn't you listen to me?
Oh my God.
Thanks so much. I appreciate
we need
it.
like a month respite from Nokia and Microsoft.
I know,
we
seriously.
have one more Microsoft story
Oh
to
my
talk
God!
about.
Go ahead.
I want the month respite to
It's
start
and then
right now.
and then we got all kinds of other.
I'm
weird stuff
gonna
happening.
respite.
I'm gonna vacation to your respite at some point.
Oh yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna like
come along
visit.
to my
Like, what's
respite?
it like over here?
And respite.
Yeah.
Respite, North Dakota.
Co-respite. Go on.
Microsoft made a pretty big announcement. They actually had their earnings today too, but whatever, it's earnings.
You don't want to talk about the earnings.
It's money. You know,
Well,
comes
what
and
are they?
goes. They're doing well. They lost money in Xbox for the first time in a while,
Yeah, it's weird.
but it's I
I
think
wonder why that is.
the specific reason called out.
I don't have to wonder.
Wait, ready? Payments made to Nokia related to joint strategic initiatives was one of the reasons called out for.
How does
Offset.
Xbox? Oh, they offsetting their
Because it's
earnings.
entertainment and devices division.
Oh, right.
So somewhere in there, they
So it
lost
turns
some
out it
money.
wasn't $0 billion.
So all the
No, we knew that already. They
but
paid a bunch of money.
all the Xbox people are like,
Yeah, but
thanks a lot, Nokia.
They made a bunch of
we
money.
we were the crowning jewel here.
Dude, what if Nokia designed the next Xbox?
That would be
How
awesome.
hot would that
It would
look?
just be like a gigantic, super heavy brick of polycarbonate.
Yeah.
Blue polycarbonate. I'd be into that. I would be very
Anyway,
into that.
so with the big
No-
Microsoft
some reason it
news-
has a screen on the side.
a huge touch screen on top of it. You have to hold it in your lap. And there's a cord going to HDMI cable
and to hear
power
things,
cable.
you have to lean down to the speaker.
No.
So it would be a giant phone.
Sorry, one move too far. You took the piece off the chessboard.
I can't wait.
Go on. You said you can't wait.
Big news.
Win.
Oh, win. Yeah.
You
big news.
cannot win.
I
Big
can't get
news.
even. It can't get out of the game.
The only winning move is not to play, Paul.
That's right. How
It's a
about
War
a
Games
nice
reference.
game of chess?
How about
Thank you.
How about I
Thank
quote
you.
a slightly more obscure movie called The Wiz with Michael Jackson as the Scarecrow?
How about a store? Nobody beats the Wiz with electronics on sale. Go ahead.
Microsoft announced its Windows 8 editions this week. There's a lot of them, but not as many as there used to be. So there's Windows 8,
Oh, right.
Windows 8.
Right.
So there's, I think this is
Windows
actually
8 retweet.
surprisingly big news. Windows 8, Windows 8 Pro, which adds in some stuff.
It's two. I'm not doing a gun. I'm counting.
Windows 8 Enterprise, which
Enterprise.
is basically the same as Pro, but has a different license.
Windows 8 E Prize.
And then something in China, some weird language
Wait a second.
edition for China.
I only have 4 here.
It's only 4. And then that's Windows 8.
Yep.
That's what you got. And then on your other hand, Windows RT.
Windows Retweet.
Which is not Windows 8.
And it's not Windows
Well,
8 RT.
No,
It's
no,
not
it's-
Windows 8. It's Windows RT. It's a different
Is that
product.
right?
It's a different product.
I totally misread your article.
And I think that is tremendously
Windows
interesting.
RT.
Windows RT is a different
Stand for runtime?
yeah. Because the kernel is named WinRT, so I think they're
Should have called it Metro.
because you called it Metro.
Should have
man.
called it Metro. But here's the thing: desktop intact.
Desktop
It's
intact
not
but
going
limited.
anywhere.
So the thing with Windows 8 is Windows. It works like Windows. It'll have the Metro stuff there, but you can buy it in a box. You can put it in Intel processors or Intel machines.
Yeah.
It's Windows 8.
Yeah.
That is no compromises. Windows 8.
No compromise.
Windows
Except that you can't run it on a low-powered,
ARM
high
processor.
battery life tablet.
right for that.
That's the one compromise.
But so Windows RT.
Intel's going to solve all that.
But for Windows RT, you can't
Pine
purchase
Cone.
it in a box.
Pine Valley.
Right? You can't
Ivy
buy.
Valley.
You can only get Windows RT pre-installed on an ARM-based tablet.
Yeah, so you can't if you're a Windows 7 customer, you can't upgrade to Windows RT.
Right, which would make no sense.
I mean,
to whatever.
obviously,
It's cool.
I don't even know how. Why would I even say
it's,
that?
I think it's tremendous. I think
should
they've
call it
been
Metro.
calling it Windows on ARM. Okay, they've been hinting that it's different, and I get that. They haven't necessarily.
And they're not calling it
but
Windows 8
Windows
at all.
The Windows it's not called Windows 8.
It's weird.
It's a different. It's Windows RT.
So it's interesting because
But at the Windows 8 consumer preview event, they didn't make any distinction.
if
here.
Windows RT runs on ARM and it's just called Windows,
yeah.
seems like they could just take that and put it on a phone.
I mean, so I think it sounds like they're trying to differentiate
Windows
in people's
Phone.
minds that one of these products is not going to run your regular
But it will.
desktop
So that's the
apps.
thing. So Windows RT on ARM will have the desktop solely to run Office
includes Office
and the file browser.
Yeah, Microsoft is the only one that gets a buy on this. But that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Bundled
is that-
with.
Bundle. Yeah, it's built in.
Right,
you
right.
get Office,
No, and
which I think is clever enough.
Well, but I think if Microsoft wants people to avoid this confusion, then if I get a Windows tablet or a Windows RT tablet, that I shouldn't expect to run my copy of
Yeah,
Photoshop on
but,
it.
Dude, in the store or online or in the world, there will be Intel-based tablets and ARM-based tablets.
I'm just,
Yeah.
I'm
And
just
they will have dramatically different capabilities.
Yes.
Probably dramatically different
I
battery
understand the
lives.
difference. I'm saying for the key word to me is Windows.
Yeah,
if you hear the
think
word
it's Windows.
that's what I'm saying.
I
That's
agree.
what I'm
I think
saying.
you guys
If-
are having an agreement.
Yes,
I
a
love
heated
you.
agreement.
Heated agreement here.
If Microsoft says this is Windows, but then it can't do all the Windows things.
Well, I think the best reaction I had was when this news was announced, we posted up, and I was talking to Joanna about it, and she goes, I have no idea how I'm going to explain this to people in 3 minutes on ABC.
For $100 more, you can get a MacBook Air.
That's pretty much what she's going to do. I think that's exactly true, right?
I think what's going to be interesting is when somebody goes to the Best Buy and they buy the Windows tablet and they get home and they whip out their Quicken CD.
Yeah.
like, what would I do
Like,
with
here we
this?
go. Wait a second.
Right.
And then they get like an external USB CD drive and they're like, what?
Well, I
This
think
is-
it's really clever.
What
is
if you load a web browser and then you search for programs on CNET? Like
no, you won't do
CNET
that. You'll go,
downloads?
no. That's okay.
Well, I mean,
you won't do
it'll
that. You're
say-
going to go to the
it'll-
Windows store. You're going to download them all that
no, but
way.
you're
You
right.
might
You'll
go to
download a
CNET.
zip,
No,
and
no,
it'll
no.
be an exe,
So,
and
like,
you'll.
What's that thing like? Make use. Anytime you Google like or alternative to or make use of like when you start Googling trying to find an application.
But they're trying to change that.
You mean
behavior.
binging when you're binging.
What?
When you're binging it
When
up.
you're binging,
Yeah.
no, when you're looking for an application to solve your problem, right?
But they want you to go to the Windows Store.
That's what everybody's going to do.
But everybody Googles things. I don't find most of my iPhone or iPad apps in the store.
You don't?
No, I found them on Google because.
But then it linked you right into the store. I mean,
Right.
That's what'll happen.
No, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for.
It's going to go to download.com.
I want like a tax application for Windows because I think I'm on Windows.
Right.
And then you're going to go to download.com or some other or Softpedia or
yeah, but
something
all
like
that's going
that.
to happen is you're going to get.
you're going to have a download.
All that's
This
gonna
is a
hap-
transient problem.
No, but all that's going to happen is you're
Right?
going to get an error.
Yeah, I mean,
It's going to say you can't. That's not
this is
compatible with
Microsoft
your.
trying to change consumer behavior, and they've got to
Right.
do it.
I don't think that's that big of a deal. It's just going to go. They're just going to. The machine will say this isn't compatible with your version of Windows.
Right, but imagine if
And what happens when you try to install?
Imagine if you had a Windows 8 desktop, right?
Yeah.
And it's got that same start menu as your tablet.
No start. Oh, it does.
You
yes.
think you have the same computer on both of them?
Well,
right?
yes.
And you can go to the desktop on both
that's
of them.
but the software.
So for a
but
while
hold on,
you're
the
thinking
software
you have the
that's
same
built.
thing.
But the software that's built for Metro is
right, it's the same
running
thing.
in both
That's-
places.
So
no one.
it's not the end of the
aren't
world.
Aren't they
but I
not?
think
Aren't they
there's-
not doing? Aren't they discouraging or basically saying we don't want people to develop Windows apps?
Yeah, but there
for
are
ARM?
so many. Out
Yeah,
there.
they wanted them to
you-
use
But those
Yeah,
apps
you
are
can-
gone. Those apps are gone.
for ARM people. I'm just saying it's
Yeah,
gonna
for
be,
ARM people.
I'm saying it's not the end of the world, and a lot of people will start using Metro. I'm just saying it's going to be confusing for people who have a lot of apps on their current desktop.
Yeah.
That desktop upgrades fine to Windows 8.
You mean everybody's
and
parents?
they think they have the same thing on their tablet, and then they try to find it to download it, and they can't get it.
Well, no, look. This is a very complex
Wait, hold
solution.
on. I don't think that is true. I think most people.
I think he's
they
right.
get their Windows machines.
Right.
Most people, and they run the browser. They might run Chrome if their kids installed it on there.
but listen,
But they're
what Paul's saying. What Paul's saying is,
they're
you're
not,
like,
like,
I need a
getting
note
apps.
taking.
My mom
no,
has
they are, but they're
installed
like, I need
Quicken on like 5 different
I-
Windows
Why do you
hold
think
on.
Quicken won't be in the store? I mean, like, you don't
Can
think
I-
Microsoft is
Can
evangelizing?
May I
This is the
say something? I think
developers
what
company.
Paul is describing is this situation, which we've all been in. I need a really good scientific calculator. I'm on Windows. I'm just going to do a quick Google search or Bing search for Windows Scientific Calculator, and you're going to get download.com SciCalc27, and you're going to go click on the download thing, and it's going to be like, sorry, that's not compatible. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's a small. I think that's a small problem.
I think people just might because it's called Windows.
Yeah.
I think people might expect that any random app that they already have on their Windows computer.
Yeah.
Is going to run
Well,
on the new thing.
I'll give you a better one. How about this? You bought Windows 7 in the beginning of 2012. You bought a new Windows 7 laptop.
Right.
And Windows 8 comes out at the end of the year. You see these Windows 8 tablets. You're like, oh, I'd love to have a tablet that runs my Windows. I'm gonna go get a Windows 8. I'm gonna go to a Windows tablet.
Yeah.
These look great. Now I have all these apps that I just bought. I
Yes.
just bought Quicken.
Yes.
I got a
This
CD.
is what
I got a
I'm
CD-ROM
saying.
of Quicken here.
Thank you.
A DVD-ROM of Quicken.
You would let
and
me
I'd like
say
to.
it.
I'd like to install it. Is Quicken going to provide? Is there a what is that to that for that consumer? Who are they to Quicken?
I mean, you
at that
guys
point?
know the
do they get
outcry-
if Quicken makes an ARM version? Do they get a free update to the ARM
I think that's up to
version?
Quicken.
I mean,
that is a problem though.
you guys know
It's a problem if you buy an iPad too.
Well, no. So
No,
guys,
but
this
all
thing-
new apps for the
no, but
iPad.
an iPad never.
That's what
An
I'm saying.
iPad is never doesn't call
Never
itself
calls-
OS 10.
They never call, that's what I'm saying.
It's not
When
called
you-
OS 10 Lion tablet.
that seems like a
This is
semantic
what I'm
argument.
saying.
It's not a semantic.
when you buy an
I mean, it is,
iPad,
but-
it never says it's OS 10.
Truly in its most
I know.
fundamental form.
No, but it is. Semantics matter. Go ahead.
You sure? Are you sure?
Go ahead.
When you buy an
One
iPad,
other point. Just kidding.
when you buy an iPad, it looks like this. It looks like this.
It doesn't look
operating
like- that's not
system.
OS 10.
And OS 10 does not look like it's not called. This isn't called a Mac. This isn't called OS 10.
Right, they don't-
This is called iOS on an iPad. That's called OS 10 on a Macintosh.
Right.
They look very different. It's just very obvious. But if you hear Windows, oh, this is a Windows tablet.
Yeah.
You're going to assume
This is why they should have caught.
This
This
is
is
a lot
why
of the same things.
It's almost like, and I'm not. I don't think this is true, but it is. You could speculate that they wanted people to not know the difference. That they wanted people to think they were buying a Windows machine.
What I thought was very interesting.
I mean, I'm
so
not
I
saying that's the
tweeted
case,
when they announced the names. I wrote the story. It's all done, and I tweeted, "It's unbelievable to me that they didn't name this Metro." And then Charlie Kindle, who was on the Windows Phone team, tweeted back at me. He said, "At Microsoft, Steve Ballmer makes all the
This is the Windows
he
thing.
he makes all the naming decisions. He named everything Windows, including Windows Phone." And that's, I mean, it's out there. You can go read it. It's his tweet.
Was he responsible for Zune?
No, actually, I've heard. What's really interesting. I have heard since actually for years. The Xbox and the Zune were both named by Jay Allard, who left.
The funkiest
And
member
they're
of the
the
Microsoft
funkiest
team.
member, and they are the only major consumer-facing products Microsoft
What
has ever
about
shipped
what was that other phone?
that aren't named Windows.
Kin.
Kin.
The Kin.
Thank
The
you.
Kin.
What about the Kin?
Did he
I don't
name
know.
the Kin too?
But I don't know. I don't know anything about the Kin. But I was told that
The Kin
Allard
was-
was responsible for
No,
those two
actually,
projects.
I'm sorry. Actually, so here's the story with the Kin, because we had, when the Kin was being, I don't know all of the story about
Windows
this.
Junior phone.
No, I don't know all of the story about this, but we got, remember the Courier video? Gizmodo had it, and then we got a copy of it with some other, I think we ran some other parts with it that we hadn't seen before. But along with that, we also had a PDF, which I still have somewhere, which was a brand study for Pink. Pink was the project,
Yeah.
which became Kin, which was, we're going to make this consumer-facing, like youth-oriented smartphone
And it was
type
all,
device.
focus group.
It was it was focus group, and it was a case study of the name Kin and what kind of like bad associations it had and good associations.
Yeah.
And like basically like here's what it was like, here's our it was, I can't remember the branding agency or the agency that put it together. I should go back and find this, and I should just publish the thing, because it is kind of fascinating. But it basically says, goes through all of these like permutations of like different names and things, ways it may be taken out of context. And apparently Kin is
Some terrible thing.
it's like,
in
can
England.
be in like Bristol. It can be, it's like the F-bomb. It's like the end of the F-bomb.
Yeah.
You can like use it in place of it or something.
And welcome to Vergecast.
Yeah.
You learned something today.
You did learn something. I don't know if it's Bristol. I don't want to say for sure. But anyhow, it was, so I think it was like a user, it was like a, I don't know. I was like by committee, I think is how they came up with Kin.
Yeah.
I don't think it was like, hey guys, this is the name. I think a committee of people were like, we got to name this cool device. What are we going to call it?
Yeah.
Kin, by the way, awful name. Terrible name.
Yeah. So
I don't care.
not a
I don't
huge
care what
improvement.
anybody says.
You don't care who came up with it.
I don't care who
That
came up
person
with it.
failed.
I don't care how big your study was. That name's bad.
Look, anyway, so it's, Paul was like, when I was putting this topic on the list, Paul goes, well, it's just a name. I think it is actually much more than a name.
What's in a name?
I think they started out saying Windows 8, no compromise. We're going to give you everything. And they're staying there with Windows 8.
Yeah.
But they're pulling out
Well, they're
this
not,
other
but there
product.
is a compromise.
But we knew
On
about
Windows
that.
8 there isn't.
We knew about that
The
compromise
Windows 8
before.
compromise is you're not going to run Windows 8 on the kind of devices that you, as the consumer,
But
now
that
wants.
is no longer right. But they've pulled the product apart. Right? It's not Windows 8. It's this other thing, and it works in a different way. You can't buy it in a box and install it. It's pre-installed. It's this other.
I mean,
thing.
I'm just saying,
We're having a heated agreement again.
kind of, but I mean,
But no,
Right.
I want to disagree.
damn it, man. Damn it, man. Okay. Well,
So that's the news. I think it's
that's all the news. We're done.
no.
That was a fast
There's
one.
there's a few more things to talk about here.
Just wrapping this up really quickly.
So in a first for the Verge, in a first for our editorial team this week, this is pretty exciting. I
don't know what you're talking
We've
about.
had a reporter sitting in a courtroom all week,
Oh yes.
which is awesome.
Yes.
So Brian Bishop, who is on the West Coast, has been sitting in the Goораcle.
The Goöracluan.
Yes, Goöracle. You heard it here first. This is what we are now going to refer to this trial as. The Google Oracle trial will henceforth be known
As Goöracle.
as the Goöracle trial. And just spread the word. Let everybody know. Goöracluan.
I heard Goöracluan were seen in Beverly Hills.
Canoodling.
Canoodling in a very fancy restaurant.
Goöracluan canoodling. Goöracluan pregnancy? Pregnancy scare. All right, go ahead.
So it's happening.
In the Goöracluan trial. That's Google and Oracle.
Brian's having the time of his life. He's thoroughly enjoying himself.
He's also, I understand he's been listening to I Had the Time of My Life from Dirty
While at the
Dancing
trial.
over and over on repeat during the trial.
So Larry Ellison was on the stand.
L-Dog.
Apparently very practiced, looking very polished.
Well, he's an insane maniac, so that
yeah.
makes a lot of sense. I mean, insane genius maniac.
And then for the past few days, Larry Page, the CEO of
Page Man.
Google, has been on the stand, and they've been saying some. Ellison,
L-Dog and Page Man.
Yeah.
That's a buddy flick.
I think L-Dog and Page Man.
Yeah. Two egomaniacal nerds have to find a missing dog.
Yeah.
There he is. That's one half of the duo. There's Page Man.
So Page has been saying Ellison's like very practiced. He's been on trial a lot. He's gone through a lot of lawsuits.
This dude just rambling.
He's rambling. He said, like we have on the screen, Android wasn't critical for Google.
Well, he said it was important but not critical.
Important but not critical. What was more important to us was finding a delivery method for our services.
But they also said some interesting stuff. I want
to. So the context of this was Oracle's lawyers are cross-examining Larry Page, and they're saying, "Isn't it true this is so important to you that you stole Java?" Right? Because that's the whole trial: is did you steal pieces of Java?
Yeah.
Literally, like line for line, copy Java. That's at issue. And they're both. It's weak arguments on both sides. Really, I mean, everybody did something wrong here. Right? I mean, it's going to come down to like who does the jury like better. And it's a trial.
Page Man. My guess would be...
I read a tweet from a CNBC reporter yesterday that said Larry Page keeps creepily smiling at the jury. So that's
Larry,
bad.
Larry, listen. Do not do that, okay?
Don't look at them.
They're not your friends.
No.
They're judging you.
Yeah.
They're there sitting there judging you. You don't want to look over and smile.
Ellison's there. He looks like Tony Stark. He's like everybody gets a yacht ride.
I don't think he looks like Tony.
He clearly looks like
Tony Stark in 20 years or something.
I think Tony Stark is modeled on Larry Ellison.
I don't think so. I think Tony Stark...
the modern Robert Downey Jr.
That's possible. That's a weird... But yeah, it's possible.
Dude, if they have the same goatee.
Well, goatees are a relatively common facial hair arrangement that you see out on the street, particularly in Silicon Valley. Yeah. The goatee is no stranger to Silicon Valley, so I wouldn't put all your eggs in that goatee basket.
Suspiciously similar goatees, sir.
They need to get that conversation on the stand.
I've been asking Brian, do you just want to jump up?
Objection! Objection! Overruled. But hold on. So I just want to go back to that comment. The Google wasn't critical.
Yeah. I mean,
he also said something that I think is really interesting, and I feel like is very much a catalyst for many of the innovations and things that we see in our lives, which is they had said something like we had a closet full of phones, and none of them worked the way we wanted to. Yeah.
We've been frustrated getting our technology out to people. We had a closet of 100 phones, Google's offices, none of them worked. It was impossible to develop for them.
This is me drawing a picture of my ultimate phone, like with the slide out keyboard, and you could but it is like, I know how they feel. I'm sure you do too. We use this stuff all the time, and it's like, why can't someone just make? It's like the Lumia. It's like the Lumia design, ICS, and whatever other thing we need. And it's like, why can't someone just make that thing? Like what?
Well, yeah. I mean, before Android,
it's a wasteland.
Google had like some random Gmail app for like Razor.
No, they did. They had their Java Gmail app, which was it was an applet. It was a VM.
Yeah, applet.
It was. I
had a lot of applets. I had a really good Tetris.
They had it for Symbian. They had it. I mean, it was cross-platform. They had it on Palm. I used to use it on my Palm on my Trio 650.
Can you imagine?
And by the way,
how wild that would have been to develop for all the talk about fragmentation.
I remembered something the other day that I thought was significant. I had a Trio 750 for a while.
Yeah.
I used Windows Mobile for a while. And I remember always and I also had a Blackjack after I think after that.
My first smartphone was a Motorola Q.
Yeah. And I remember thinking, Paul made a lot of tweaks to Windows Mobile that made it way better.
Yeah.
Like their version of God, it seems like only yesterday. No, it seems like it was a long time ago. Only yesterday it was very recent. This seems like it was forever ago.
Right.
I know for a fact only yesterday was very recent. I think.
I believe.
It's been a long week, but I say that every podcast. But no, it's crazy to think about the way the landscape used to be. What a weird like kludgy mess it was. Like Windows phones that were tweaked. Remember 6.5 when they created the hexagon
Yeah, that was
grid?
Yeah, and they thought that was a really good idea.
They're just so weird. Things used to be so weird, and now they seem so orderly. I mean, in comparison, when you think about the mobile phones, they're these knowable objects. When I first got when I had my Trio, and the other Trio, I remember being like blown away by the 650. Like this is the device. This has changed. This is it. My world has changed. What?
I just didn't feel that way about the Trio.
No, the Trio 650 was like my world has changed with this thing. This totally. But like when you think about how ridiculously archaic it seems now, and that wasn't that long ago.
That was, I mean, most of those early smartphones were not as much about the apps. And so you could have basically an entire experience invented for you.
Palm
could
actually had a pretty good ecosystem of apps, and they were
with Bright Hand or whatever.
Yeah, but I mean they were apps. I mean, I remember just being so amazed. Like I can shoot 320 by 240 video on this,
but like the
or 320 by 320.
The
really
really core experiences were all like baked into the operating system. So you could have leaping from phone to phone. You could have vastly different experiences.
Though. On my Trio, I used a launcher. I had like a custom launcher that replaced the stock Palm launcher. And all
you never
kinds
thought
of...
the Trio was slow? I always thought Trios were slow.
I mean, I'm sure I would have made an argument to you at the time. I'd have shown you how speedy it can be with all my like shortcuts. And best thing about the Trio was that you could
like a full SD card slot.
Oh yeah, it was like.
Dude,
it was out. It was SD slot, and it was like physically like you could.
Oh my gosh!
You could touch the SD slot like whenever.
Email that to me, and I can put it on
in real time.
I can airplay
it's on your Twitter.
No, it had an SD slot, full SD slot that was like physically accessible all the time, and sometimes you would like bump it against somebody and it would pop out. But the thing I like best about the Trio was that it had, and they brought this to Windows Mobile as well, which wasn't a feature for Windows Mobile, is that you could do because it had a full QWERTY, you could set long presses on the QWERTY to launch things. So like if I held down L, it would like open
picture of Larry Ellison.
If I held down P, it would open a picture of Larry Page. That's exactly right. No, but it would you could hold down P and it would open the phone, hold down B and it would open the browser. It was actually really great, and I would have shown you like how quickly I could move around on the thing.
Let me just wrap up the Goöracle story.
Please do. Goöracle continues.
So that was Page. It's not critical. And the key thing is there was an email from a guy named Tim Lindholm in the case. He was on the stand today.
Yeah.
He sent an email saying, we've been over a bunch of development environments. They all suck. We conclude we need to negotiate a license for Java under the terms we need.
He said that?
Yep.
Oh boy. That's a smoking gun.
It's a pretty bad email.
That's a silver bullet
out of there. So Oracle's calling all these engineers, these Google engineers, to stand, who all used to work for Sun. They all got jobs at Google because they all know Java really well, and they built Java. So like, Oracle definitely has some kind of argument in the mix here.
What is the?
But then Google's counter argument is this is all open source. Like, why are you complaining about this? You open sourced this forever ago, and when we launched Android, Sun, which was an independent company at the time, was like, congratulations, thank you for doing this and making Java cool again.
That is odd. So here's my question.
The bad arguments all around.
Lawyer,
it's like who's less shady.
Lawyer man.
Yeah.
What's the outcome here? Oracle is found to be.
Oracle wins, is what you're saying.
Oracle wins. Yes.
I mean, that's
Oracle
wins.
Found to be I want to know the scenarios. Oracle wins. What happens?
Google pays. I mean, that's
Google gives them a license fee.
Yeah. I mean, that and a bunch of damages. I mean, the judge in this case has expressed.
They lose. Does it change the way we look at Java?
Yeah. I mean, if they lose, then somebody else can do what Google did, which is go use the Java language and APIs and build a
precedent.
Yeah, but it's not. The judge in this case has expressed continued disappointment that they're at trial, that they're not settling.
He's like,
they're not
guys, it's the weather is beautiful. I could be playing golf in the entire week. and instead I'm listening to your boring ass testimony.
Instead, software engineers are on the stand explaining to juries
Yeah.
what APIs and program calls are.
I mean, those guys
literally what happened all day today was Google's engineers on the stand patiently explaining what an API was.
Oh.
And Brian said, I'm looking in front of me, this guy's been on StubHub for 3 hours.
Are you serious? One of the jurors?
No, like the other reporters.
Okay.
It's just like they're on StubHub.
This is a place where the iPad battery life really comes in handy.
So I'm gonna. Brian's having like a great time, so I'm not gonna tell him to stop going. But I think
wonderful.
at this point, until Sergey Brin comes on the stand or Andy Rubin, I think we're gonna.
Are you jealous?
I'm Matt Macari and I, who are the
lawyer buddies.
My lawyer bro. We're both super jealous.
Yes.
He was like, I should have taken a vacation and gone to this trial. I'm like, you would take a vacation from your law practice to go work for me. That's awesome.
This is where you and I. This is where you and I differ. I'm so thankful I don't have to sit in my courtroom every day.
Crying.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's wild. I mean, like the fact that Larry Page is in a witness box.
It's not the first time. When he was tried for murder, he was also put on the stand. A disclaimer: Larry Page was never tried for murder.
That fashion disaster of wearing rollerblades.
Yeah.
And
Oh, right. Oh,
the throwaway.
That's the G1 launch, isn't
when they
it?
launched the original Android
Why did
phone.
they-
Oh,
Why
he
were
was
they-
wearing rollerblades, and then Sergey Brin wore those 5-finger shoes all over the place.
Why were they? Why was he? Because
he's rich.
No, it was like something about like
whatever he
green
wants.
transportation in New York. So they wore.
I know
they
that was
rolled
the
out
G.
on
That was the
roll-
G1.
Yeah. No, but they said that there were also some green transportation initiative.
Were
that
we
they
at the
carried
G1
out.
thing together?
Yeah, we were.
Remember that? Remember how we got the hands-on of the
I feel
G1?
like we were like really like ragging on T-Mobile about like
no, we had a great conversation with.
whether or not they were really going to have a completely open
Yes, and we had a
app ecosystem, which was mostly about tethering
Yes.
and video game emulators.
right, which are both there. Tethering, I think
I thought they started pulling some of the
They
emulators.
did pull. Well, I don't know, but there's definitely like some of the top-selling games on the Android market are emulators. But and please keep it that way. But remember, we talked to Cole Broadman for a long time at the end of it, and he talked about how they would allow tethering, and they would, they're like, it's open. We're going to do whatever open entails, and it's like, well, you didn't really actually do that. Maybe that's why T-Mobile's having trouble. But
So one last piece from the
yes,
trial.
go ahead. I'm just reminiscing with Paul.
Larry
good times.
Ellison said at one point we considered buying RIM or Palm to compete with Apple, and after months,
Who said that?
Larry Ellison said that Oracle almost bought RIM or Palm
compete with them.
to make smartphones and compete with Apple.
Oh yeah, because you want the Oracle smartphone.
Well, they'd be buying consumer brands.
Is this going to be as good as SAP? I hope.
People like SAP.
Really? Do people like it? I don't believe anybody likes SAP. They tolerate it.
Yeah.
Have you ever
Yeah,
used
it's how
it?
businesses
We had
run.
to use it at AOL.
Yeah, now you use it.
The words that come to
I
mind
have
are
a very fond memory of
the
SAP
words that come to
because,
mind are hell on earth.
because SAP enabled me to expense anything I wanted.
Oh, I wouldn't go
at
that
any
far.
time.
There was that one time.
It was
though, when-
legendary.
It was that one time when Chris
like that-
accidentally ordered $1,000 worth of whiskey. But that's a story for another time, children.
The end, seriously, it's the end of an empire.
Go on. Oh, come on. Or the beginning of a new empire.
At the beginning of a new.
This season on Showtime's Rome. That's an HBO show.
No, so they did months of research and they decided it wasn't worth it. to
Wow,
compete with
months.
Apple.
Woo!
Yeah, can you imagine like being the guy charged with like spending a month deciding whether or not to buy RIM?
It's like Game Change.
10 minutes.
It's like Game Change, man.
Yeah,
did
stretch it
you
out.
watch Game Change, by the way?
Yeah.
Did you watch Game Change? I know
No,
you don't
I
have a
didn't.
TV. You should illegally download it.
No, but can you imagine like you come up with an answer on that RIM thing?
I think we should buy watch it to see what the emotion level is. I think we should nope, not buy them. Don't buy them. Don't
No, not today.
Not-
Next week. I'll
don't
come
buy
back
RIM
to you.
yet. Let me just I have a
Another
few
couple
more
of months of ideas.
Just hold that thought.
Let's see if their next phone is.
What about
like.
Palm? We shouldn't buy them.
Do you think there's a conversation going on inside of any mobile manufacturer right now? Like, what if we made a WebOS phone right
Here's
now?
what I wanna know.
Now that it's
Straight up.
open,
Forget about WebOS, but why isn't somebody going like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the basic ideas of WebOS and some of the code, since it's open source, and we're going to put it into
Dude,
Sense.
Bada, the
We're going
next
to put it into
Bada.
Sense 4. Sense 4.5 will be like WebOS with WebOS stuff.
I don't know. That'd be a great conversation to have.
It would be a
in
wonderful
a boardroom.
wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Or how about this?
showing this?
How about this? How
I'm
about
trying to.
now that
Creighton doesn't pay attention to
now
when I
that
airplay.
now that Matthias can get his cards back, why not get rid of that stupid horizontal list and like do cards again?
People like the list.
Do it.
Great, and airplay.
No,
us.
I don't think people like the list.
I
that
like
much.
the list.
It's
I mean, I
okay.
don't use it day to day, but I like
It's
the.
okay. It's all right. Go ahead.
When I do this,
happening?
it means put that on the screen.
What's that? What is that?
This
What's
thing.
going on here? Things are getting weird.
You know, it probably timed out because it was busy waiting.
What's
for you to-
happening? What
He's
is
trying
that?
to-
What are you pointing to?
Somebody sent Paul his book cover, Culture of Consumption. We're trying to put it on the
He
screen.
can't do it. Can't be done, folks. All right, let's keep moving. Stop doing that, please. It's horrible. Stop, both of you. Stop it. I'm going to leave.
You learned that on your bachelor party?
Yeah.
More,
Two more
of that.
bottles.
We'll have.
Yeah.
Eli told me he came back from his party with a $1,000 bottle of
This
vodka
tall.
that's this big.
I have a picture of it.
I don't understand. What would the point be of that? Like,
Can I
here, would you like some vodka on
You
the
know,
rocks? Let me
so
get that for you.
later on, you can tell your friends, "Hey, we had
stop
a
airplaying that? Let me show you this.
Yes. Oh, that's.
Oh, there it is. That's
don't know
really
what's
bad.
happening right
I
now.
don't. This isn't quite what I was thinking. Okay, so if we could just get a
see,
little.
the cigarette needs to be stubbed out into the TV.
The TV needs to be on its back. Okay.
Yeah. And here's the thing,
And this
email
is
me
not
the
really
picture,
static.
because
have you ever
Twitter-
seen static before? That's not really static. Let me get.
This is probably Generation Twitter did this Photoshop.
Trey Sean, can you get up an image of static? Channel 3 static. Does anybody know what Channel 3 is?
Channel 3 was ESPN when I was growing up.
No. Channel 3. Forget it. I'm not even going to get into this. Cray Sean knows what Channel 3 is.
And then email me the photo because
you know-
Twitter makes it impossible to get the
Channel
photo
3 is the
out
channel.
of the,
Channel
out of
3
the
is the
web
channel
view.
that like had nothing on it.
Where? In Pittsburgh?
Broadcast. It was like the channel.
It's not like a universal rule.
I don't know. Maybe it wasn't
I
Pittsburgh.
feel like I got a lot of mileage out of the first 4 channels
I don't
with
think
my
so.
bunny ears.
I think Channel 3 was like the de facto channel for like your video, like if you were connecting a VCR.
Oh yeah,
Every
it was.
TV
Channel
had
3
its
or-
own.
It was Channel 3 or Channel 4.
That's
Remember
right.
they
You
had
could
the
switch it. You could switch it. That's right.
That's why it was Channel
And
4 for me.
Channel 4 in Pittsburgh was a station. It was NBC. That's what static looks like on a TV, and it's on Channel 3. By the way, did you Google search Channel 3? Oh, look at that, Michael Shane for the win. You're a fine man. You're a gentleman and a scholar. This is Channel 3 static, folks. This is on a CRT, some Sony, some beat ass.
And so the cigarette is coming down,
Zenith.
being snuffed out
that would
into
be on the TV.
static,
What you really need to do is get yourself a TV, an overturned TV image,
falling on its back.
or like get a 3D render that, right? All right. Anyhow, this is the worst Vergecast ever. Actually, you know what? I think this one's pretty good.
I'm having
so
a good
far.
time.
All right, what else do we have?
I'm actually really
You got
interested.
any topics?
No, I'm not. I'm interested in talking about what T-Mobile's doing this week. Because
They-
T-Mobile did
that, you mean
nothing.
their new badass campaign.
Their new badass campaign.
Remember when the T-Mobile girl was so nice, and now she's like knifing people for no reason at all?
Do we have any like positive? Like, here's an awesome new thing that happened in technology.
No.
Did it? Like,
It's
oh man,
dark days.
that product is
Hey,
blowing
hey,
my mind with
wi-
its innovation.
Winter is coming. Okay.
There were no product launches recently. I mean, there were, but
And
it's
that's weird
like,
because when I like fall asleep and start dreaming,
it's all product launches.
I'm a phone.
Look, let me just here. I'm gonna find.
I'm
the
a phone
first-
on the shelf in a Microsoft store.
Oh,
Every time when I fall asleep and I have a dream,
This is you're doing a Game of Thrones
Yeah, it's a
thing.
reference of
yes,
the Game of
I get it.
Thrones.
It's good. It's good stuff, folks. If you're
Thank
not
you.
into that, you're really missing out. Paul Miller, super genius.
AMD loses $550 million.
Are you just looking for positive stories
I'm
now?
looking. Yeah. HTC
look,
customers
look.
prefer thin
Anything-
phones to better battery life.
hey, I had a great idea for an app this week. So that was cool. That
going
was
on
good
there?
innovation.
Yeah, Paul, your forum post, you're
Yeah.
totally confusing forum post that I couldn't decipher.
Exactly.
You showed this to me. Paul showed me this post, and it was like, I want this app to be created. And he showed me this long thing that he'd written. I was like, yeah, I think that's he was like, is this maybe something for the site? I was like, I think that's a forum post.
The
it's a forum
Asus ZenBook is coming in pink and gold.
Wow.
That's
is-
innovative.
That is something.
You didn't expect gold.
Look, here's where
Spotify
we're
for Android.
Spotify for Android today.
Yeah.
It's
exciting.
I mean, it's cool. They've
No, it's
improved
not
the
that
interface. I
They
mean,
still
which
don't
is-
have a collection view, which makes it useless.
Yeah, it's
Ra-
not-
Raspberry
Okay.
Pi's out.
No.
I could go for some Raspberry Pi.
That sounds great.
What do you think after this? Maybe we'll go get some pie.
Maybe.
I had pie last night, actually. Apple pie.
So are you saying you can't have it 2 days in a row?
A la mode, my friend.
Oh, really?
yes. With the mode.
Mode.
with mode on top of it.
Alienware killed the M11X. Nope, that's bad news.
There's no good news.
All right, let's just talk about where we are in the industry
It's
and
just
why
about,
there's
like,
why there's so much bad
branding
news.
and
we are
the Nikon
advertising.
D3200 came out.
Good job.
It's red.
Yeah, that's good news, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, DSLR launches. I actually think the red looks. So the red, when I first looked at it, I was like, "Oh, this is sexy," and I tweeted about
It's
it.
not a very good red.
No, but then I looked at it further, and I was like, "This just looks like those Ferrari products."
Yeah.
And I realized what I really thought looked sexy was the picture. Like I liked the picture of the gadget. I didn't really like
the
the. I wasn't like the
Picture of the
gadget is
camera.
cool. It was a weird thing. Sam did it, right? Sam Byford.
Yep, in Japan.
In Japan, beautiful man, beautiful country.
This iPad keyboard looks cool, the Logitech one.
I think here's what's
Okay,
happening.
please explain this to
I
me
think-
because
I think we're at-
it's getting me down.
Okay, so we had this big explosion of
Right.
of technology over the last few
CS,
years.
MWC.
No, no, no.
Oh, you
And
mean,
I mean,
I'm saying like we're reaching.
Are you talking about like an overall cycle? Because I know there's a yearly cycle. Like in July,
Right,
you get
I-
like Christmas in
No,
July,
but
and you
I
start
think,
getting your
but I think
holiday
we're at
announcements.
no, but I think we're at a point where like the holiday announcements are. Well, we've seen this before, or it's another version of this, or whatever. You know, and even the things that would have been like oh my god, the G1 for us was like oh my god, the first Android device, and it's like it's so cool, and even though it turned out to be actually not that cool, you know, and it had problems, it would just seem so awesome at the time. The Pre was another one of those things. Where
Okay, there's two things.
all the phones that were announced in January, February, are
but
coming
like you
out
look at
now.
the but you look at the One X, which is a great phone, right? But it's just another. It is just another Android phone with better specs, better design. You know, slightly better design. But it's very similar to what we've seen. We've seen a lot of them.
You know what I'm excited about
Uh-oh.
is Project Glass.
Well,
And here's the thing: not only is Google doing it now, apparently Valve is doing it. Apparently Oakley says they're working on something.
Tim Cook went to Valve. We don't know
and
why.
Tim Cook went to Valve.
No, he didn't.
That's
by the way.
Oh, he didn't. That was a lie.
It was a lie.
Did we run that?
Yep.
Wait, he
That's
didn't. Did I miss that story?
It just ran like.
Like right now?
Yep, at 7:23 p.m.
What happened?
Oh, that's so
Apple's
sad.
the
Tim
story?
Cook never went. Apple's Tim Cook never met with Valve.
I'm sorry.
according
Who
to
first reported this?
Co-founder Gabe Newell.
Apple
and
Insider
7DC.
was the first one who said it, and they never said how they knew.
Well,
They apparently didn't know.
I wish we had proceeded with slightly more caution on
Yeah.
hitting their rumor.
It's too bad. But did you see my post that I did when I hit the rumor?
Getting a little tired of this graphic, by the way.
Yeah.
Valve
Scroll
by
down
the
and
way-
see if there's a backlink.
By the way, Valve, like,
To my awesome
can you do
post.
something else here? Can we get something? Give us a.
No, it's a Valve,
No, I understand. It's Valve.
but it's in his eye.
What's happening
His
here?
brain.
What are we looking at?
Yeah, click on join your fellow man. I had a real good post about Tim Cook.
Click on join your fellow man,
Join
damn
your
it.
fellow man. Because here's what I want. I want Apple and Valve to make a console.
Oh, this was a good post. This is a weekend post.
yeah.
Yeah.
Top 3 things Tim Cook was doing at Valve.
You like that? You like that link baiting that
I wish
I'm pulling off on the weekends?
I wish you. Number 3 is the best. Well, 1 and 3 are both solid, but number 3 is great. Played Half-Life 3 with Gabe Newell and having a blast.
Yeah.
I want you to get
they've got that
I want you to
somewhere.
get the mental image of Tim Cook having a blast.
And
Can you do it?
He's got the QWERTY setup going on.
No, he's wearing the goggles.
He's got
he's got
AWSD.
2 power gloves on and the goggles.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're right.
and he's in
you're
like
right.
the
He's in
gaming
that
chair.
thing. He's in that virtual reality like barrier
It's
they
like
used to have, so
it's
you
like
wouldn't
pivoting
wouldn't
around.
fall out of the virtual reality.
Is it one of the ones with
area.
the treadmills?
No. What's the company that makes
Oh, the big hamster ball?
sphere? The sphere.
I've been in that. That
Yeah,
was awesome.
That's right.
That was
Oh my
really
God, I'm so
awesome.
jealous
You've been
of
in
you.
the sphere
The
thing?
hamster ball.
No,
Yeah.
it's called the.
I don't know.
Anyhow, I think what's going on in technology is like we're plateauing right now. There's a lot of plateauing going on, which is why you've got these like people squabbling over patents. Like that's what's happening. Like people have run out of like innovation at the
Well, hey,
moment.
KDDI put a
Yes, show the KDDI phone. I'm so into this. By the way, this phone, I think, could live tiles be a little bit more like this? Because I think this is a bit more useful. Can we get the KDDI?
The live tiles are outside of the phone.
They're actually tiles you put on the desktop.
You like set your phone down, you start folding it out.
They fall out. It's like a bunch of scrap
They're like
pieces.
color swatches.
I have no idea why you think this is cool.
we get the
by way.
KDDI
I think this
phone
looks
up?
like utter trash.
Well, you're wrong. I actually don't like the clock that much, but I just like it's different. It's something that someone's going like, I'm going to design something. I'm going to
Right.
do a design.
Well, you know,
Yeah, I mean, I will say this design looks insane.
I'm sorry. Like, here's the deal, companies. Asus.
Companies.
Asus.
companies.
Yes, this is awesome. These little analog controls
Yeah.
on the side. I think so. By the way, this is what live tiles should be doing.
What happened to the? Remember the jog dial? The jog dial was the ultimate.
We've talked about the
in
jog
phone.
dial, I would say, every other week
This is these.
No, we
since the
haven't.
Vergecast.
These
We
guys-
have
yes.
not
Katie-
talked about the jog dial very much at all. I don't think the jog
KDDI's
dial gets
custom
enough love.
skin.
I'm just gonna keep talking
No,
over
no,
you.
jog dial's
Until you-
cool. Jog
until you
dial's great
listen
for
to me
scrolling lists.
about the jog dials.
KDDI, this is their custom skin for Android.
Right.
I feel like they've done a better job with live tiles than Microsoft did.
Yeah,
like,
although weather just still says weather.
well, the weather is ridiculous. I don't understand that. No, but some of this stuff is like, look, you've got multiple email accounts in one thing. You have the actual calendar here. I assume you could flip to a different view if you wanted.
You think KDDI could smoke Windows Phone?
Well, obviously this would be smoked by Windows Phone, but not with like tell the time right now. Tell the time right now. This would definitely smoke Windows Phone. But here's what I like about this. It's not the ideal. I think the analog clock is a little goofy.
What's this thing? That's what I don't understand.
That's like a belt loop. I think it's like a.
It's a hole.
You know what I
A belt
wanted in
loop, that
a
doesn't make
phone
any
for a
sense.
while is
Show some of the
I
other
think it is
pictures.
a hole.
Can you scroll down?
Actually, is a hole.
I think
we
there
have,
is a hole.
We have other photos. That is, it's like for hooking onto like your belt or something.
You know what
I don't know.
I've wanted in a phone for a while
Yes, look at
is
this.
when you have a
So sexy.
if you had the
Stop murmuring at the phone, Josh.
Oh yeah. Yeah, baby.
All right, so two things people in our chat talking about: IKEA making
we should take-
television.
hold on.
let me say my idea that I had.
Say your idea.
When I was
Everyone's
talking
about
to
IKEA TV. All right, go ahead. Go ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
if you don't want to hear it.
I
it's
want to
okay.
hear it.
It's okay.
Guys, please.
Can you put the image of the phone back on?
Put the image of the phone
when
back.
When you have room at the top and the bottom of the phone, you could put like larger diaphragm microphone and larger speaker, like almost they could be padded. Like headphones are padded, and you could have a like.
Oh, you want like
this
to have
sort
like
of thing.
a circular thing that you put up
You
here.
could have
How
some
about
sort
like
of
how about like if it
phone.
was in the shape of like this? Like you could have just think you could have a, I don't know. if I'm
They're
right.
always all these phones are always trying to get by with the smallest possible speaker and the smallest possible microphone. But if you look at any high-end audio gear, look at like how huge the speakers are and how huge the microphones are. I feel like if you had bigger speakers, bigger microphones, you could get better
So
audio.
you're on to HD voice again.
HD voice.
That's an interesting idea. I just want to say like.
It's a great
This
idea.
is a little weird, but it is weird, and the Lumia is a little weird, and that's great, and please stop letting Apple define what gadgets look like. Like I don't want Apple to be the only company defining what gadgets look like.
and
I want smart, talented designers to make technology.
Right.
And the fact that they're not, that it doesn't seem like that all we have are these is this I like the Galaxy Nexus, but this is the most iterative design in the world.
Actually, I don't like holding that phone. I've been
Whatever.
using it for a couple
It's
weeks.
one man's problem, but this is iteration here. This is not design. This is you took something and you made the curves a little slightly different.
One thing that's nice.
I'm tired of it.
Nice about like these watches that are emerging that tether to your phone.
Pebble.
And
Pebble Man.
and these
been you.
These wearable
Put a watch in
computers
Kickstarter.
Could have put a watch in Kickstarter.
is these wearable computers is that when they're on your body, they're not hidden in your pocket. When you're wearing something, fashion becomes like paramount. Like you see a lot of times these watch designs, it's like, that's pretty cool, but it's not cool enough. I want to actually wear it. And that it's kind of forced this innovation of like, this can't just look cool. This has to be actually fashionable.
Right.
And
Well,
I think that will push. I think that could push design forward.
I think fashion is one thing. I mean, I think there are. It doesn't even, you don't even have to go to like fashion to say yes. I would think wearable computing you will have to take into consideration how it
and
looks,
watches,
right?
yeah.
But I think that you just should start taking like these are objects that we live with. Designers are in the business of. I mean, there are many designers whose job it is, industrial designers, to make beautiful things that we live with, whether it's furniture or dishes or all sorts. There's all tons of things.
But like you get a Crate and Barrel if you ever accidentally buy something.
Crate and Barrel phone.
You get a Crate and Barrel. You get a Crate and Barrel magazine. Every season for the rest of your life. And it's always different. It kind of progresses in parallel with fashion. They
tweak.
The color
tweak,
swatches, because colors come in and out of fashion. The
right.
color swatches, the materials that are popular right now.
Right.
There's a lot more a carryover between fashion and furniture than there is between furniture and hardware design.
By the way, Colorware says they can't do a Galaxy Nexus. I tweeted at them.
Really?
They say that they can't do it for some reason. How come they can do a BlackBerry Bold, but they can't do a Galaxy Nexus? I want answers, Colorware, and then I want you to do this Galaxy Nexus.
What color do you want?
I don't know. I don't know yet.
Lumia.
Did you see that? Did you see the Colorware? The camera. What the camera was? I can't think of. It's a Leica. The Leica Colorware that I put on my Tumblr.
No.
Can you get that up? This is what I want to see in the world. Get that on the. Just come on. I see you searching. Why don't you just go to
Those
joshua.topolsky.com?
Leicas, that's another thing with the more analog controls on it.
Yelling at this guy across the room. What a jerk I am. That's not it. That's a variant of it. The one I put on was more colorful. Why are you laughing at me, Krayshawn? What's so funny? You come in here and say it to my face.
Let's take some calls. What are people excited
let's take
about?
some calls. How about this? Let's take some calls. What in technology are you excited about?
Yeah.
What is something that whether it's a design or a product, a piece of software. This is we're going to close on this. What's the number? Can I get the number? It's 888 418 4074.
And you can't say IKEA TV, and you can't say Galaxy S3.
Well, they can say it, but
Galaxy S3 is...
You better have a damn good reason why you're excited about that stuff.
Yeah.
And it can't just be specs. I want to know why you're excited, what you're excited about in technology, whether it's software, a piece of hardware, something that, maybe doesn't exist yet, something you want. This is your time to dream with us.
Apps.
Let's dream together. Let's dream together on the Vergecast.
Paul's great app idea for writing.
Paul, don't listen to what Paul just said. I want you to have your own dream, okay? And I want to hear about it.
You got a check mark.
I got a check mark here. I'm putting you on the line. You better be ready to dream big with us. Hello, you're on the line. What is your dream?
What is my dream?
No,
Not this.
What are you excited about? What are you calling
I'm
in about?
Sorry,
It's the wrong number?
I'm excited about the Pebble Watch, and I'm excited about the 1X screen and what that's going to do for mobile screen technology.
Yeah, the 1X screen is well, I don't know what
You mean
that
a
means.
720p LCD?
No, but it does look pretty amazing.
It does look amazing, but I mean, it's the same screen as on the Resound.
It looks more amazing than the Resound.
That's because the Resound is called the Resound.
No,
I'm convinced that really hurt that
Are
phone.
you? So you're planning on getting a 1X, or you have one, or what?
No, actually, right now I've got the Titan 2, and I'm looking forward to the Apollo version of the Titan 2 with the screen that the 1X has.
So you are dreaming now because you're talking about a product that has yet to exist.
Yeah.
That's very. I'm not saying it won't.
Yes.
But you think there's going to be they're going to take the 1X chassis or some variation of it and turn that in. They're going to have a Windows Phone version with Apollo.
I mean, that's just logical.
No, that makes total sense. It will be, what is it? Well, it's going to be dual core here, right? That's a dual core Snapdragon.
Yeah.
So we assume that the next version. What's that?
I imagine they'll be using the S4.
Yeah.
No, they're definitely using the S4.
I would hope that this round, we're back to Windows again. But I would hope with this round they future-proof it a little bit and go big, right? Because I think the last round was a little bit not really even close to future-proofing. But all right, cool.
I completely agree.
You do.
I think that what they're doing with Apollo, we don't know whether they're going to be. We only have what people are saying right now, and Microsoft hasn't confirmed anything. But I do think that even if they don't put Apollo on the older phones, that they will do something to kind of appease. Now, I think it's stupid for the Lumia 900 and the Titan 2. That really sucks.
Yeah.
But I think that those are the ones that they'll work on, either trying to get something on it, or like a Windows 7 refresh that's on the same kernel, but they don't have to worry about it because that'll be the last update for it. Because major updates are annual.
Right.
But I think that the Pebble Watch, I like the screen technology right now is really big to me. The 1X screen, and then what they're doing with the Pebble Watch, I think that's brilliant compared to the crappy Sony watch and the crappy Motorola watch.
I was talking to somebody.
The Motorola watch is terrible.
I was talking to somebody last night, and my dream is this watch. It's this exact design, not this exact watch, but a watch like this. It has this design. When you look at it, it looks like this, but this is a super high resolution circular display, and you swipe. You could swipe off to some other stuff or swipe. I want a watch that looks like an analog watch.
Motorola.
The Aura. Yeah. The Aura. That's what we need. All right, I'm going to take another call. Thank you so much for calling in. I really appreciate it.
Can I say one thing first? We take the call, but TC just put up a post that is absolutely amazing. He went and saw the Space Shuttle Discovery roll into the Smithsonian, and that's it's awesome.
He was there?
He was there. We have awesome pictures of the Space Shuttle like at the Smithsonian.
Well, it's a
like,
good,
super close up,
it's a good, you know,
in terms of being inspired.
something to fuel your dreams. Okay,
Exactly.
well, I'm gonna
I was just thinking about that Neil deGrasse Tyson.
bring in another caller on the line. I want to know what you're excited about, what you're dreaming about, what is interesting to you in technology right now. You're on the line. Tell us what you're thinking. What are you dreaming? What are you wanting?
My question or my dream is about 3D printing.
3D printing.
Yeah. So I read an article on Investor Place a couple of weeks ago about some guy was talking about its 3D printing approaching its inkjet moment, in that inkjet printers weren't really popular until you could print out digital pictures on them, so they had a purpose. I was wondering if you guys had any thoughts about, do you think 3D printing is approaching that moment where there'll be a certain thing you can print out that everyone's going to want, or there's going to be something you are able to do on it that people will think was just amazing, and it's going to actually, everyone's going to start adopting this technology.
I think that there's a couple of challenges, right? But I think the first challenge is what 3D printers produce is not super durable, right? That plastic is actually like, now when I went to Microsoft and to their labs where they not their labs, but the place where they machine and like print all of these prototypes, you know, they were saying, I mean, it's durable, but doesn't hold up like an actual like produced piece of plastic.
But there are services like you might your little prototyping lab printer. I'm sure they have a very good printer.
Yeah,
but there are services that print with really incredible materials, really great 3D stuff. I think the big limitation is that people need to be able to do 3D modeling in an easy, personal way. That's like, you know, that's
you need a digital picture.
That's either like it's as easy as taking a digital picture. So whether that be like you model things in clay and then there's a really easy app to scan it in as 3D,
right?
Or if it's you know, the paper guys were talking about, they wanted to make creation tools for a lot of disciplines. And I don't know if it's the paper guys to figure this out, but I'd love someone to try to figure out a very intuitive, very simple 3D modeling program for a tablet.
I actually have a different line of thinking on that. I mean, I think that you're right that that'll open the doorway to people actually wanting to create these things in the real world. But I feel like what we're going to move towards with 3D printing is like a pretty sci-fi idea where I think we're going to start to see shops that are like, you need something, right? Like, I'm missing a screw that I really need. And they're like, you can print this in super high test plastic. And like, maybe it's not a permanent replacement, but it's something you can use for like a year and then you have to get a new. But like, or like, I want a new case for my iPhone, or I want a new case for my Android phone. And it's like, here's the phone you have, change the case, like, you know, alter it the way you might want to alter it, do whatever. Keeping with like the mold, and then you can have it, you can print it out, like, and you can pay for those like models to print things. And I think like
it would be awesome, but how do you get there from here?
Well, I think you have to find.
You'd have to get manufacturers to make 3D models of their stuff.
Well, no, that's the thing.
Then
you'd have to
license them somehow.
You would have to have certain things you can obviously model without a manufacturer. Like, you can make an iPhone case to the spec that would fit an iPhone, and you know, with the pieces that snap together and say, like,
but you
here's your
mentioned
model.
a screw, or if you have like a missing part.
Well, a screw, I think we can go into the patents on screws, but probably a lot of them are just.
I think they're over now.
Yeah, so
you can make it.
But like, I think there's a lot of things, or like, you know, some kind of thing that you would make a necklace out of, like pieces to make a necklace, or jewelry, or like, you can think of a million different things that you might produce. But what it needs is someone to go. There needs to be some point where you go, oh, I can produce something and it's durable and I want it and I can print it in my home. It's like, we have to find the right. I think consumption is where this starts. You have to find the right thing that people want to consume.
Well, do you think you'll go to a kiosk at Walmart and have them print something for you, or at your corner store? Or
I mean,
will
they could start like that.
It's like you do that with photos, or will you get a good enough, big enough 3D printer in your home?
Well, I think
to do that sort of
stuff.
stuff.
It depends on. There's going to be stages.
Well, no, because the 3D printer in your home, you need to stock supplies.
Right.
And so here's what I was
you have
thinking.
to have the right material, and you've got to have the right kind of printer.
I've been wondering about this for a few days because we've been running all these stories about Best Buy, and like Best Buy's failing and they're starting over, and it's like Best Buy supply is like a need. Like, you can go there and buy stuff and bring it home right away. And like, what's interesting about Amazon is very like instant. Like, it's instant. Like, I want something, I go and I buy it. It's there. I can see everything, but it's not really. Like I have to wait until tomorrow or the next
This is
day.
what I don't like to buy things online.
We need a matter generator.
No, but
that
what's
generates
funny is-
matter in
but
a
I
box.
think people really like Amazon. I think they like it better. I think they would rather wait a day than leave their house.
I think, I think they'd rather get it immediately though, if they had a
they
choice,
could.
no,
Right,
without
so-
having to leave their house.
So let me ask you: is the total wild future of retail a store where you go and they just make the thing for you right away?
I don't think that's inconceivable.
Like they
But-
stock all the materials, they
Okay,
stock all the
let's
stuff.
imagine. Let's imagine for a second you have a machine that has
Because that solves like the Amazon problem.
Let's imagine you have a machine that has a set of, let's say, 100 basic materials. Okay, and it's in a large scale facility, a warehouse.
It's a lot of money to pay
It's
for,
Best
yeah.
Buy is just the front, and then the rest of it, there's no
Right.
stuff in
This
it. It's these materials, right? And this very complex machine, which has like nano servos
way
or whatever. Nano servos.
Nano servos.
That's a thing.
You know, that's the thing. It's like,
I'm
they didn't
patenting
think
that
about
right now.
nano servos. Now that they know
servos,
oh,
nano
if
servos.
we just put
No,
nano,
but whatever. Okay,
servos.
so whatever sci-fi stuff might be in that machine, and it can create not everything, but a certain amount of things. Like it could build you a DVD player. Not that you would want a DVD player the year 3000. What are you doing with that? But like, no, it could build. I think it could put together a shoe, for instance. Right, like with it would have rubber and you know plastic canvas,
So, but
and it could
that's-
stitch it and yeah. I mean, I think that's not inconceivable.
But some of that's getting pretty far in being able to like produce things with nano servos, just because like if you think about stuff that's in most of our products, like Gorilla Glass, a very highly specific process to make glass that is pretty involved to make a very specific durable type of glass, or semiconductors, even more huge of a very specific process.
I think it's gonna be. I think you would start with simple things. Like I think clothing might be something a machine could produce with some degree of quality. I'm totally wrong, probably, because clothes are probably really hard to produce. But there are things. So I think that. By the way, caller, are you still with us?
I am.
You
Yeah.
are okay.
Hi.
We're really riffing on your idea here, but I do think that some kind of the idea about 3D printing is that there's going to be a point where we find some broader use for the stuff that you print, because right now it's a lot of like people who are making prototypes, and scientists that need to like quickly. Go ahead. No.
You could get like a 3D printed chair online, or you can get like a
full-size chair?
or a light,
Completely defeats the
or a
purpose.
light fixture. But I kind of like to Nilai's point, like 3D printing might be the best when it is very immediate, when it's close to you,
Right.
When you can go, but you know, instead of having to go to like the one IKEA that's 30 miles away, there's a place that's 5 miles away.
It's a fabrication
that can
like center.
create a bunch of a lot of things that are simple objects that you can use relatively simple materials.
I mean, I think if we had,
I have a Thingomatic, the MakerBot Thingomatic on my desk right here. So.
and what do you do with it?
Mainly print shot glasses and bottle openers.
And you use them?
So you're an alcoholic with a
hold on.
3D printer.
How long does a bottle opener last for?
Forever. It's unless you physically break it or melt it, it's gonna.
Well, that's
ABS,
what I mean.
It prints in ABS. It prints out of pretty much what Legos are made of.
So you can print a bottle opener with your printer and give it to a friend, and like boom, they've got a bottle opener for life, unless what happens, they melt it.
Yeah, and then it takes 20 minutes.
Will you send me a bottle opener?
Give me a address.
So what would you prefer?
I have CAD and I can design it. Whatever.
Would you prefer that 3D printer gets better at home, better at a nearby kiosk, or better at that far away 3D printer that you could order from online?
I'm an engineer, so I use it. I do it at work, so.
I mean,
for me, it's probably at home, but the average person, I think, some sort of kiosk like a Rite Aid or something, where they would used to go in, put in their digital camera, get their photos printed right there for them.
Right.
A kind of a model like that would be.
I mean, that's
This
what's
is-
in.
This is definitely a. This is already a.
Isn't that in Idoru,
What?
the William Gibson book? I feel like this concept they
Well,
have
there's.
like.
I mean, obviously, Quicksilver has of it. A lot of this stuff. You have a home.
I
little
think
thing.
I feel like in Idoru there is like in the 7-Elevens you
Like
can
a
go
co-op
in
kiosk that
and
you
there's
go
like
to.
there's like a matter generator or some type that like prints stuff.
Yeah.
This is a very interesting idea. I here's what I'm confused about though. You said you mostly print shot glasses and bottle openers. What is your need for a quantity of shot glasses and bottle openers? Like, how many shot glasses does one need in their life?
You know, it's a conversation
Well,
Becky and I
it's
have
easy to
every
give
day.
away.
Oh, you're giving them away. Is there anything
Yeah,
that you
and
have you ever?
there was a model for a Shamrock shot glass for St. Patrick's Day.
If you had like a
Very
good
handy.
app store of 3D models, you'd probably
There
find
is a
more.
pretty good app
there's
store.
like the, there's a Pirate Bay.
What is that?
No, but there's a real there's a store.
Oh, there is one, isn't there?
Is there?
Try to
What's it,
remember.
what's it called?
Yeah, the
Thingiverse.
Thingiverse,
Oh,
yeah.
right. So what's the most popular product on the Thingiverse? Do you know?
Shamrock
I
shot
don't know.
glass.
There's about 20,000 models. Depends day to day.
I feel like I have this issue where, and maybe it's just my my problem, where there's things I like. I really need this screw, or I really need this like weird piece of something that like I don't have, or like I wish I had a dock for X, and I don't. That would be like if I could print like a perfect dock for my Galaxy Nexus without having to go order one and like go like, will this be right for the HSPA model or for the LTE model? Like if I could just like download the thing and print that and I could like stick the USB cable in it.
How many times a
call it
month
day.
would you use that? Because I feel like the thing with the inkjet printer is you're probably going to use it like multiple times a week. You know,
Yeah,
if you are into printing digital photos, taking and printing, at least like once a week, you're going to sit down and print out some digital photos. Like,
Yeah.
how often are you going to use your matter generator?
If I had an actual matter generator,
Oh, every
Nonstop.
freaking day,
Are you
like
kidding me?
nonstop with abandon. Where does the matter come from?
I don't know.
How is it- what's it
3D
powered
printer,
by?
a 3D printer then.
Well,
James
all right,
Cameron.
how often are you?
I mean, how many
mining
things do you
asteroids.
need?
We should take one.
I have so many
I
things in
think
my
I
apartment.
actually think we need to wrap up.
You think
All right,
so?
I think. Thank you for calling in. Very interesting.
Yeah. Thank you for spinning the Vergecast off. Into
Yeah,
space.
you way out of control, but really, really interesting. Thank you so
This
much.
is why we're doing.
Should we take this one last call?
Send us a shot glass.
All right, we're gonna take this one last call. You better be quick. Better be great. You're on the air. Better be quick. Better be great.
What's your dream?
What's your dream?
Yeah.
You got to turn
gotta-
down,
yeah,
turn down the Vergecast. And,
Hello.
Yes.
My name is Clark, and my dream is for holograms.
What do you mean holograms? Can you be more specific?
You mean like
I'm
Tupac?
talking about like actual holograms
Like
that you could like
Holographic Tupac.
go and look around. Like not like Tupac. I don't think that was like
So that was a
You mean-
projection.
You mean like
Hologram
Princess Leia?
Princess Leia.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah, pretty much. Because like now, like I think we're kind of like hitting a wall with TVs and stuff where like even like 4K and everything that's like the highest resolution. Like at a certain distance, you're not going to be able to tell it. And like I don't think 3D TVs are all that
Let me-
great.
let me
Like,
ask you a
it's kinda
question.
hard to focus. And
Have
most
you
of the
ever
movie stuff,
have you ever seen the ABC miniseries from the '90s called Wild Palms?
No.
Okay, well, this is all coming full circle. In the miniseries, part of the premise is that a television station, Channel 3, creates basically what is like part drug, part like augmented reality, part TV, holographic, like interactive projection for the living room where you like interact with the characters and like because you're on this drug and because you're wearing these glasses, they'll like let you see this like 3D
Isn't
world.
it kind of like that in THX 1138 too?
Not really. You should see Wild Palms though. Anyhow, it's a 6-hour, 9-hour miniseries or something. I highly recommend it. It does star Jim Belushi, but don't let that stop you. Okay, he's actually
That's never stopped me
he's actually
before.
pretty good at it. William Gibson has a cameo.
Oh, I've
And-
seen the image of that
and-
cameo.
And Robert Loggia is the bad guy. So I think I've pretty much said everything you need to hear about this. And there's some
Yeah.
very
How have I never heard of
very
it?
sexy. I don't know how you've never heard of it,
Some
but it's
very sexy ladies.
Yes,
That's all right.
it's written by, if I'm not mistaken, it's based on a comic that Bruce Wagner, and correct me if I'm wrong, you can do a little Wikipedia on this. I believe the writer's name is Bruce Wagner. Used to do wrote a comic that was on the back pages of Details in the early '90s when Details was still not totally horrible. Sorry, Details. And it's a really bizarre miniseries, and I highly recommend that you watch it. But what you're describing is pretty much what's in Wild Palms.
Well, I mean, don't you think it's more likely that you'll get something that's augmenting your vision instead of like an actual
Project Glass.
something that's augmenting your vision instead of an actual tangible
Yeah, it does seem like it's
meat
easier.
space hologram?
It does seem like it's easier to augment your reality in a
and-
way that is
and
unintrusive.
track your head
Yeah.
movement and all those things.
I feel like what we're looking at now is the challenge of creating like a real world object out of
it's
like
called physics.
Right. I mean, the challenge of that is way crazier than the challenge of somehow finding a way to fool your senses into thinking you're experiencing something.
The only thing I would say about that is that I think the reason we need holograms is you still want to have like an experience where you have a bunch of people like watching a thing, like being able to like sit on the couch
shared.
and, like, watch it.
Well, but if you all, but hold on, if you all had your contacts in that let you do the real world overlay.
We all get immediately augmented when we're born.
And we were all in like a Quake death match.
A Quaker death match.
A Quaker death match. It's very quiet. There's no big expressions.
Yeah.
No, but like if we were all in like whatever, we were all networked in that world, we'd be seeing the same thing. And if you moved, that stuff would move, and it would the effect would be. But like a person who ran into the room who wasn't part of the network
would really be
they'd
freaked
like,
out.
What's happening? Why are you all touching an invisible object? And what is that invisible object? All right, I think that's it. Thank you so much for calling in. Very interesting thought, and I do hope that you get your hologram someday. But I hope that you won't be disappointed if it comes in the form of an augmented reality contact. So,
okay, thank you.
Thanks. All right.
Hate to let you down.
Hate to let you down, but your dreams are dead. All right, that's it. This one's gone completely off the rails. That's going to be the Vergecast for this week. If you'd like to get in touch with us, what you got something?
I
else?
just want to say thank you for. I'm glad we talked about the
dreams.
The dreams.
Dreams are important
because the world doesn't need another dual core chip.
We don't need another hero either.
No, we don't need a hero.
But
they say a hero could say.
You know what?
I can't even get it out.
You know, you may, Paul, you may say I'm a dreamer, but as we've just learned, I'm not the only one. Huh? You don't want to get riff off of that? All right. That's the Vergecast this week. If you'd like to get in touch with us, you can email us at podcast@theverge.com, which we've got to change to vergecast@theverge.com. Michael, can you set up that account and redirect it to podcast@theverge? Thank you. That's happening right now.
Yeah.
Don't email it yet. Just wait like 20 minutes. I got the thumbs. Michael's like, you can obviously leave a comment on the post when it goes up. We love that. We love comments. And you can find us on Twitter. I'm Joshua Topolsky. Nilay is Reckless. Paul is Future Paul. And The Verge is at Verge. Not at The Verge, but I'm working on that.
Really?
Yeah, take down a Canadian radio station.
I've sent out some emails. We're going to see.
You ever seen UHF? We could do it.
You mean the alternate station on a dial TV?
The Weird Al Yankovic.
The Weird Al movie.
Do you know,
have that on
Do you
DVD.
know what UHF actually is?
Yes.
Ultra high frequency.
All right, that's our Vergecast for the week. I'll check you out with your terminologies.
Hey, what?
You can tune in next week for more of this. Oh, also, next week.
If you still want to.
Next week, we haven't announced it yet, but I'm going to say it here. Next show on The Verge, April 27th. And we're working. I'm not going to say who the guest is yet.
I was going to say because I have no idea.
I'm not going to say.
I heard a rumor today.
You'll see. There's some very exciting talk. I don't want to say it till it's 100% confirmed, but we've got some very interesting people lined up. I also don't want to get your hopes up because you never know.
But it's definitely Tim Cook.
But it's definitely Brad Pitt / Tim Cook together.
Goöracluan.
Goöracluan. Anyhow,
the first exclusive joint interview with Goöracluan.
Goöracluan together, arm in arm, standing against the evils of the world. No, April 27th on The Verge, going to be awesome. You have to come and see it live, taped live. And that's it. Thank you so much. We'll be back next week. And as always, I wish you and yours the very best for the weekend.
Rock and roll.
Oh.